96%. Chapter 461. Saint in Purple Clothed Something. Chapter 461. The purple-clothed saint has something. The saint in purple cloth was not annoyed by Qin Sheng's words, but frowned and said calmly. However, since it is a protective gear, it must have its weaknesses. Purple-clothed saint finished speaking, and then used lightning strike on Qin Sheng again. But this lightning strike consumed more than 30 of his mana, which was completely different from the first lightning strike. In fact, the reason for this is also easy to understand. Just like a fighter, the strength of punches has priorities, and the same is true for mages, whose power is also divided into strengths and weaknesses. The more mana that is poured in, the greater the power will naturally be. As we all know, mage is a position that requires a lot of mana. Without mana, they can almost just wait to die, and fighters, their mana is just to provide them with the number of times they can use their skills. Without mana, they still have strength and skill, so they can charge in, and mages are good for the backline. But in the same way, a powerful mage, as long as the skills are used properly, the fighters can't even get close, so it's GG. Winning or losing, it also needs to be divided into single combat, double combat, team battle. It is also necessary to divide the individual's operating strength and the opponent's operating strength. It is also necessary to divide the positions of both parties, 833, and so on. Squeak squeak. The lightning strike of the purple-clothed saint fell on Qin Sheng's body, just like a stone falling into a pool of water, only bringing slight ripples. Other than that, nothing else. Still didn't cause the slightest harm. Purple-clothed saint looked at Qin Sheng with an extremely relaxed expression, and immediately frowned. I have used all of Ping A's strength, but I didn't expect Qin Sheng to be rich and unscathed. Young man, it seems that you are indeed very powerful. I admit your strength. My level will not harm you. Next, I can only use my skills to deal with you. The saint in purple clothes tried twice. Even Qin, I haven't figured out the bottom line yet, so I decided to use my skills to compete with Qin Sheng. Go ahead, Qin Sheng replied, saying so without paying much attention to it. Thunder. The saint in purple cloth gave a soft shout, and as his words fell, there was a sudden explosion of thunder in the sky, which really shocked Qin Sheng for a moment. However, when the several-meter-long thunderbolt landed on Qin Sheng's body, it barely cut a hole, not even causing any damage BFB to Qin Kong. In this case, players will choose to avoid the edge temporarily, and wait for the mage's mana to be exhausted before choosing a hard bar. This is the most conservative style of play. Like Qin Sheng, who didn't even dodge, and carried it directly with his own body, the people present had never heard of it. On the other hand, it is also his confidence in his armor. From a certain point of view, mage is also a position with extremely high damage. Except for human shields that can resist 1 or 2, other positions dare not resist hard. Purple-clothed saint, if your strength is only like this, then I'm sorry, you and their end will be the same. Qin Sheng refers to the connection of 2 levels. If you lose 2 ranks in a row, you may not even be able to touch the edge of the ground list, but with this strength, you will be able to climb the ground list sooner or later. But if you continue to set foot on the Tianbang, you are doomed to miss it for life. In this place, the rankings are all 59, and the sky rankings are generally 59, between 30% and 35%, drop 2 levels in a row, start from nothing at level 57, it is tantamount to a devastating blow. Just imagine, players who enjoy the endless glory, lose 2 levels in a row and become an unnoticed white player. How can they recover from the blow? The urge to uninstall the game is gone. Young man, your strength is so powerful that it even makes me feel powerless. However, I must not stop here and try my last blow, I will inject all my strength. Purple-clothed saint looks crazy, he knows that success or failure depends on one action. It was really helpless for him to make such an impulsive move. After all, ordinary attacks can't even break through Qin Sheng's armor. If he continues to drag on, he will still lose if his mana runs out, so it's better to give it a go. Come on, it's best not to disappoint me. Qin Sheng also smiled, but his smile seemed casual, as if he ignored what the sage in purple clothes said. As you wish. The saint in purple cloth raised his magic staff to the sky, and shouted, "O sky! Please grant me endless power. 5 thunders strike the top." Boom. As the purple-clothed saint's voice fell, the top of Qin Sheng's head suddenly burst into purple light, and the space oppressed by the 5 terrifying thunderbolts was slightly distorted. The storm is coming. But this is not over yet. The 5 lightning bolts actually began to merge, and finally synthesized into a lightning strike in the shape of an eagle's claw, which appeared above his head, and the terrifying power was raised by another level. Chirp! Qin Sheng faintly heard the thunder, and actually uttered a cry like an eagle, and the 5 claw-like paw prints directly grabbed at his own Tianling guy. Okay, well done. Exhausting all the mana of purple-clothed saint finally made Qin Sheng feel a little excited. But Wu Lei Bang's attack only made him feel a little bit interesting, and he still planned to stop it with the dragon scale armor. Buzz! The moment 5 thunders bang ding and dragon scale armor came into contact, dragon scale armor did not receive any damage at the first time, but Qin Sheng's head buzzed, and the world became dizzy. Crack! After touching it for a few seconds, Qin Sheng carefully discovered that there was a gap in his dragon scale armor. Under the purple-clothed saint's 5 thunders blast the top. Awesome! Qin Sheng looked in the direction of purple-clothed saint, which was his recognition of his strength, and then continued, Purple-clothed saint, according to your strength, you shouldn't be inferior to this. I conservatively estimate that at least the top 500s is there for you. What am I good at? As a high-output mage, it takes all my strength to break through your protective gear, and with your protective shield, I can't do anything to you at all. The purple-clothed saint smiled bitterly. What he didn't know was that he was already amazing. At least the Missing Knife, who was ranked more than 800 before, used the strongest 3 axes, and it only slightly broke a gap in the dragon scale armor. But it didn't make Qin Sheng feel that he couldn't resist it. Young man, you are very powerful. I won't be wronged if I lose to you. I will admit defeat. The mana in purple is exhausted, and there is no need for sage in purple clothes to persevere and bring shame upon himself. 96%. Chapter 462 Comparing with what you are best at. Chapter 462 Comparing what you are best at. The saint in purple cloth has lost, and all the great gods on the list have lost. What should I do? You ask me what to do. Who should I ask what to do? What else can I do? Let's make cold salad. It's over. If no one comes out to sanction this young man, then our Dongying country will lose face. Who caused the disaster? Someone asked. It was the fault of a player whose ID called me player here. He not only guided this young man here, but also provoked this young man, and then caused him to wantonly take revenge on our Dongying kingdom. Hiding in the distance player is here. When he heard this, he was shocked, and even the thought of staying here disappeared, and he left the ring in a hurry, fearing that other players would cause trouble for him. What's the noise? It's not just a Chinese person. You can't beat it. A bunch of rubbish. Let the labor and management deal with it. A man with a dagger at his waist rushed to the place, and said in a disdainful tone. Wherever he went, the Dongying people consciously made room for him. Wow, Budo Kojira is here. No matter how powerful this Chinese person is, he can't be the opponent of Budo Kojiro. As far as I know, Budo Kojira ranks 85 in the ranking list, and there are only 80-odd people in the entire Dongying kingdom who can beat him. This young man is doomed. Come, bet Budo Kojira wins, or China's mysterious player wins. I'm determined to leave. Budo Kojira can't lose. I'm betting on Kojira's victory. Me too. Boy, I heard that you really caused trouble in Dongpu, right? Are all the Chinese people so rampant now? Budo Kojira jumped onto the ring and glanced at Qin Sheng casually. You got one thing wrong. First, we Washa people don't like to pick things up. You Dongying people do it first. Second, the strong is king. I can laugh now. It can be seen that you Dongying players have what rubbish. Qin Sheng smiled lightly and responded to Budo Kojira. Okay, very good. The strong is king, then I will beat you up today. You won't say that we Dongying people bullied you after you return home. Dongying held the sword at his waist and said, Shinto. Of course not, but you don't have the strength to let me lose. Qin Sheng said slowly with a smile on his lips. Crazy. Budo Kojira pulled out his sword, and their battle officially began. Budo Kojira. Level 59. Attribute. In the name of weird and unpredictable knife skills, it often makes the opponent fall into tricky attacks without reacting. Skills. Poisonous Snake, high-speed movement. HP. 8,300 8,300. MP. 3,400 3,400. Boy, you make the move first. If you lose, don't say I didn't give you a chance. Budo Kojira said confidently while holding a taidao. You mean me? Qin Sheng pointed to himself and said in disbelief. But apart from the two of them present, there was no one else nearby. That's right, your speed. I'm still in a hurry, but I don't have time to stay here with you. Budao Xiaoji nodded and said impatiently. Are you sure? Qin Sheng asked again and again. He usually said that to other players, but now a player said the same thing to him, which made him dumbfounded. Sure. Why, kid, you get rid of more than 900 purple-clothed saints on the celestial list, and you swell up, thinking that the world is invincible. Then let me tell you, the top 100 and the top 1000 celestial list the difference. Budo Kojira is very confident in his own strength. Okay, very good. It's been a long time since anyone said anything like this to me. Qin Sheng looked up to the sky and laughed. Since someone wants to seek death, he should fulfill his wish. I heard that your body skills are very good, so I'll compare with you on the body skills you are good at. Qin Sheng smiled slightly, and as soon as his voice fell, his figure appeared behind Budo Kojira. How is it possible? Budo Kojira was horrified. Qin Sheng, who was 20 meters away from him in the last second, unexpectedly came behind him in an instant. How could he accept this? Feeling the strong wind coming from behind, Budo Kojira subconsciously shouted, "Move at high speed." In the next second, his figure appeared tens of meters away from Qin Sheng. Budo Kojira took a deep breath, and saw that the place where he was standing before had been covered by a deep pit. If he hadn't reacted so quickly, he might have been cold. Asking for flowers. It's an interesting move, but your speed is still slow. Budo Kojira's eyes blurred, and Qin Sheng, who was originally tens of meters away from him, stood behind the screen with himself in the next moment. Ghost. Budao Kojira was confused, and swung his sword in the direction where Qin Sheng was standing without any explanation. But in the hands, there is no feeling of scratching the skin, only the powerless feeling of splitting the air. The Qin Sheng, who was slashed by Budo Kojira, disappeared instantly, and it turned out that this was just an afterimage of him. 0. You're so rubbish, not even as good as purple-clothed saint. I don't know how you climbed to the 85th place on the list. All I can say is, you're too stupid. Qin Sheng sighed in disappointment. As a samurai, once he loses his size, he is no different from an ordinary person. This kind of person is not worthy of being a warrior at all. I compare you with your best agility, but there is still a gap of 108,000 miles between you and me. The top 100 in the Tianbang is no more than that, and the strength of donkeying people is just like this. Qin Sheng finished speaking, raised the blade of God and waved lightly at Budo Kojira, who hadn't slowed down yet, and he turned into a stream of light and was sent out of the ring. Did you see it? Mysterious player competed with Budo Kojira's best agility, and was instantly killed. Nonsense. We are not blind. But to be honest, this Budo Kojira mana, thanks to the fact that we still had hopes for him, we didn't expect to be seconded. The most important thing is that it's okay if he can't beat him, but he still has to pretend to let mysterious player do a move. It's going to be a big embarrassment. Purple-clothed saint at least broke mysterious player's protective gear, and Budo Kojira has already finished before it even started. Is this the fact that there is no ranking? Budo Kojira, I was very upset when I lost the game, but I didn't expect someone to say sarcastic words in my ear, and I immediately drew my sword to lose. 96%. 460th chapters arouse public anger. 460th chapters cause public anger. If you have the ability, you dare to say what you said before. Budo Kojira drew out the sword, pointed the sword at the person who yelled the most and said, "Ouch, 85 on the Tianbang list. It's really amazing, but it can't take the ordinary blow of the Washa people. If you can't beat it, you will trouble us, and the fire will be sent to your own family. But you're probably looking for the wrong person. You 57 level scum, do you still want to challenge me?" Under the coercion of Budo Kojira, this man not only was not afraid, but taunted him. There is no other reason, only because he lost the PK with Qin Sheng, and lost 2 levels in a row, and now he is only at level 57. Except for novices, this kind of level can always be the existence of the tail of the crane in the fantasy online game world. Budao Kojira was taken aback for a moment after hearing his 087 words, and then he accepted the fact that he even lost 2 levels, but he still put down his harsh words, "Call the big wolf on the Qingqing grassland, right? I remember you, and I will greet your whole family afterwards." Ouch. Who is afraid of whom? Do you want to make gestures now? Big wolf on the green grassland shouted. Budo Kojira, his complexion is as ugly as if he ate shit, now he is PK with him. Relying on his level 57 strength. He doesn't want to drop another level to bring shame on himself. Humph. Budao Kojira snorted coldly, ignored Big Wolf on the green grassland, and left alone. Originally, when I saw such a great god today, my heart was still surging, but now it seems that it is nothing more than that. That's right. This strength is not very good, even the character is not very good. I hope that the other top 100 players in the top 100 will not be like Budao Kojira. Oh my god. I put all my belongings on Budao Kojira just now, but he was killed in one move. Budao Kojira, you give me back my equipment. Budao Kojira, you rubbish. I thought you were sure to win, but I lost several pieces of equipment. Are you all Donggying people so rubbish? This is the only strength of the top 100 in the Tianbang. You didn't even have a reaction, and you were immediately killed by me. Qin Sheng also walked out of the ring after that, asked suspiciously. You Donggying people don't have a player who can take a shot, can you fight me? Qin Sheng was in the middle of the Donggying people, talking nonsense, but still no one dared to challenge himself, so he couldn't help but talk. Deliberately saying these words that anger the Donggying people is to let them challenge themselves, let the stronger people be defeated by their own hands, and make the Donggying country lose face. Just imagine, after this incident, the whole world spread the news that a Chinese player entered Donggying country, but was targeted by Donggying people both openly and secretly. Not only was he fine, but he also killed those Dongpu people who wanted to kill him. How exciting it was. This is not over yet. Afterward, he went to the arena of Donggying Kingdom by himself and defeated many masters in the Tianbang of Donggying Kingdom. His blood boils just thinking about it. But he only solved the 3 people on the Dongpu Tianbang, which is not enough. He still needs to exert force. You Donggying country, don't you have any masters? What about the 100 people on the list? Where did they go? Did they hide because they saw me coming? Qin Sheng still yelled, but no one came up. Challenge yourself. Even though the players in Dongpu say that Budao Kojira is weak, they actually know in their hearts that it's not that Budao Kojira is weak, but Qin Sheng's strength is too strong. Even Budao Kojira didn't solve the mysterious player, so they dared not risk the consequences of relegation and recklessly enter the ring. So even though they were angry with Qin Sheng's words and deeds, none of them had the courage to face it. Hey, it seems that there are indeed no top 100 Japanese players present, or what I said just now would have forced them out. A bunch of cowards. Since no one challenged him, his purpose of coming here was barely fulfilled, and Qin Sheng didn't need to stay any longer. This time, he really planned to leave the East Ocean area. Ding! A series of darts flew over. Feeling the situation behind, Qin Sheng was not surprised but pleased. He immediately turned around and held a series of darts in his hand. But he was disappointed. The person who attacked him was just a level 58 player. Qin Sheng didn't even have the interest to do this to a player who had never made it to the top of the list. The higher the strength, the more you can attract your attention, and the more sensation you will cause. When the country is in trouble, everyone is responsible. I am very disappointed with the reaction of a group of people in our country. The Chinese people insulted our country so much, but no one stepped forward to fight it. It seems that our country is terminally ill and hopeless. Quote. Although my strength is indeed not very good, I still want to save this chaotic country and make my own contribution to the country. Mysterious player, let's fight. A rough man with the ID, the country is my mother, stood up, said some heroic and ambitious words, and begged Qin Chen to fight. I'm sorry, I refuse, Qin Sheng said in a flat voice. It's meaningless to deal with this kind of stuff by yourself, so why waste time on him? What, aren't you capable of fighting anyone? Motherland is my mother, looked embarrassed, pretending to be aggressive 1 second, and not even qualified to challenge the next second. How could he not feel that embarrassed? Who told you that anyone who wants to challenge me will have this opportunity? Even the 85th in the celestial list is vulnerable to me. As long as you Donggying country is smarter, you can send at least the top 5 in the celestial list. 10 people and I fought against 1. Little miscellaneous soldiers like you can't arouse my interest in 3.9 at all. Qin Sheng looked at the motherland as my mother with cold eyes, which made him fall into a deep madness. Washa people, you are too much. Although our Donggying country's hospitality is not friendly, you can't do this. Washa people, get out of our Donggying country, you are not welcome here. Although I Chonghai Sang Tian is only level 57, I still want to challenge you and let you see the courage of our Donggying people. I, Sasaki, also came to enlighten me. I, snowflakes, challenge you too. Washa people, we Donggying people are not so easy to bully. If you are sensible, Don't come to donkeying from now on, go back to your motherland to play. 96%. Chapter 464 Let's Go Together. Chapter 464 Let's Go Together. I have to say that you donkeying people have a good way of turning black and white. It's really interesting. Qin Sheng, who was at the center of public opinion, was not panicked or at a loss. Instead, he laughed and said loudly, "First of all, as soon as I entered your country, I was assassinated and hunted down by various lone rangers and organizations. For the sake of my own safety, I fought back against them, and then they died in my hands. First, they wanted to put me to death. I can't blame me for killing them. On the other hand, my strength is not as good as theirs. I have long been a ghost of their sword. And the reason why I have come to the present, because I am stronger than them. Secondly, the continuous assassination and pursuit of you donkeying people has annoyed me. I came here just to say that we Chinese people are not easy to provoke, so don't provoke us easily. Of course, by the way, I need to vent my heart off. Thirdly, the reason why I went so far is because I had expectations for the strength of the donkeying people before. Now that I have gotten started with them, I only know how good they are at 15. What's the matter? The dishes don't allow me to tell the truth." What Qin Sheng said left the donkeying people below speechless. "However, since you are all planning to challenge me, I might as well give you a chance to go up together. As long as you can beat me, then I apologize for my previous behavior and words. After all, this is a world where strength speaks." Qin Sheng smiled suddenly and said calmly. "What?" As soon as these words came out, there was a loud noise from the people below. "Did I hear you right? He said he was going to challenge all of us. Can you help me make sure there is something wrong with my ears?" "That's what I heard. Sao, how crazy is this, actually threatening to deal with everyone present. Looking for death. No matter how powerful he is, he can't deal with 3 or 5 people, and he wants to single out the people present. A series in which everyone who spits out drowns him. Although we won for sure, I always feel that it is not honorable to win a duel like this. After all, there is only one of him. What are you worried about? We didn't force him, but he did it himself. He wants to die. Do you want to stop him? He has already said that as long as we win him, he will apologize for his previous words and deeds. If so many of us haven't agreed, he might spread the word when we go back. So many of us in donkeying are afraid that he will be alone." "Absolutely not." The nearby donkeying people nodded in agreement when they heard what he said. "The key point is that with so many of us, the ring is definitely useless, because the ring can't accommodate so many people, so we can only enter the scene PK field." Yes, after the donkeying people made an internal decision, all the people present expressed their willingness to participate. Seeing that the donkeying people agreed to this shameless duel, Qin Sheng nodded in satisfaction. Very good. This is the result he wanted, although he did not meet the real master of donkeying this time. But as long as he solves so many Japanese players at once, the Japanese country will lose face. Then I saw an exaggerated scene. The bustling donkeying people on the street continuously flowed into a scene PK, and they wanted to fight Qin Sheng to the death. Ding! The number of people has reached 1,000, and you are not allowed to enter. Such a system sound came from the scene PK field, and the rest of the people were left outside and could only watch the battle inside. Looking at the 999 donkeying people who spent several minutes just entering the scene PK field, Qin Kong put on a smile. "Did you see, mysterious player, laughing just now? My Sao, how can he still laugh in front of so many people? Who knows what he's thinking in his heart? Maybe it's the first time he's seen this scene, although he thought that even if he loses, he can boast for a few years when he goes out. Makes sense. Brothers, are you ready? Come on. Wind control technique. Fireball. Python attack. The trampling of giants. Shackles everywhere. Some people are standing in the distance holding a magic wand to charge up. Some are standing in the distance and aiming with a bow. Some are galloping towards the direction where Qin Sheng is standing, and some are jumping back and forth by the surrounding trees. It's a grand scene like the end is about to erupt. Good time. Qin Sheng laughed, put his hands up, and shouted softly, "The sun is shining." Immediately, the dark clouds rolled over, and golden light burst forth, and rays of light from beyond the sky appeared in the sky, as if the power that should not have existed in this world began to slowly condense in the sky. Not good. All the donkeying people felt the terrifying coercion from the sky, and even their legs began to be unsteady. Everyone subconsciously propped up the protective shield, forming a huge and incomparable protective shield in the sky, covering all the Japanese people in it, trying to resist Qin Sheng's sunshine. Go. As Qin Sheng's voice fell, a golden beam of light descended directly, aiming at the giant protective shield, which was about to destroy it. Wow. At the moment when sunshine and the giant protective shield came into contact, the players from level 56 to level 58 who came to face the battle spit out a mouthful of blood on the spot, and their breath began to become weak. Individuals have suffered injuries ranging from dozens to thousands. The 59th level players just turned pale, and they were not harmed. Hold on. Everyone gritted their teeth, struggling to hold on. Crack. At this moment, there was a sound like breaking glass, and everyone's hearts suddenly turned cold. The protective shield. Is it broken? Everyone thought in unison. Under the terrified gaze of everyone, Sunshine only smashed the giant protective shield, and then disappeared into this world together with the giant protective shield. The Dongying people looked at each other in blank dismay. Did they resist? Thinking about it, they laughed. Ha ha ha, Washa people, you are dead now. The Japanese players who survived the catastrophe all uttered words from their hearts. Ignorance, ignorance. Qin shook his head lightly and said these two words. Then he pointed to the sky above them, and there were more than a dozen golden lights ready to go. What? The expressions of the Dongying people were as desolate and bewildered as if they were caught cheating on their wives. Could it be? What they resisted before was just an attack from Qin Sheng's skill. But just such an attack, they were injured and their mana dropped. Now how can they have the energy to put up another protective shield? There was despair on their faces. 97%. Chapter 465. Lu Mengxin wants to live in my house. Chapter 465. Lu Mengxin wants to live in my house. They may think that playing dungeons in the wild is more useful than this kind of boring arena battle. Even the 85 Budo Kojira came to the arena battle because he followed in the footsteps of the Chinese people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come, one person replied. Anyway, our Dongying country has lost face this time, and this matter must not be left alone. The person sitting in the middle said lightly. I don't think it's worth it to go to war just for the game. Someone put forward a different opinion. Don't you understand? This matter is no longer just a game, it has already involved the honor and disgrace of the country. What's more, fantasy online games are becoming more and more popular, and now everyone is as old as a child, up to 780-year-old aunts are always playing. Every disturbance in the online game world directly affects the real world. To put it bluntly, many countries now rely on online games to boost their GDP, among which fantasy online games are even more powerful. So, how can we be at a disadvantage? Immediately send people to sneak into China to investigate this Chinese person. There is a huge crowd, and the task is arduous. Similarly, our masters of the Tianbang in Dongying Kingdom can also go deep into China. Usually, we will go to 577 to investigate the mysterious master. At the same time, while testing the strength of Washa players. The person sitting in the middle clasped his hands tightly and ordered to the people around him. Is it time to send manpower to investigate? Someone asked. No rush. The fantasy online game is about to usher in the second round. Wait for someone to go to the second round first, and then start the things I said. The man in the middle explained in an orderly manner. Yes. The people present nodded, and then fell into silence. Ah, Brother Sheng has turned the Dongying area upside down. Not long after the news came out, Lu Mengxin called herself and asked with a chuckle. How do you know? Qin Sheng was speechless, even if Lu Mengxin saw the uploaded video, but it was so vague, logically speaking, he couldn't tell it was him. Brother Cheng, you can't hide everything you did from my eyes. Although you deliberately concealed your tactics, if I remember correctly, these tricks should be the last time you brushed the dungeon with me. Skills. Lu Meng's eyes fluttered, and the reason for her suspicion, a rival. I really can't hide anything from you. Indeed, when I brushed the dungeon with Lu Mengxin a few days ago, I used sunshine. It's not very strange to be recognized by her. Well, the day after tomorrow is the time for the auction. Brother Cheng, remember to come here. Lu Mengxin confessed. Qin Sheng nodded slightly. Immediately, after the two communicated for a while, they hung up the phone number. It's been long enough to be online today. Qin Sheng thought about it and quit the game. After taking off the device, he noticed that someone had called him more than a dozen times. It was a stranger, and he didn't know who it was, but he still called back. Hello, who are you? The call was quickly connected, and Qin Sheng asked the person on the other end of the line. Brother Yi, have you forgotten me? My name is Brother Hu. I wanted you to be our boss some time ago, but you were the one who rejected me. Brother Hu was not embarrassed, and directly told what happened last time. Oh, what's the matter? Qin Sheng asked lightly. After what happened last time, Qin Sheng thought that Brother Hu and his gang would never want to see him again in this lifetime. Unexpectedly, it was only a few days ago, just call yourself to contact the relationship. Brother Yi, it's like this. The people in the city recently want to mess with me and occupy our position in the fantasy online game. But I can't do what he wants and hand over the power that I have managed by myself, so I got into a fight with him. Although the matter was settled in the end, he and I were required to fight one-on-one. Whichever BFAG loses to the other party will give up each other's power. He is ranked in the sky list, but I am in the ground list. That strength was better than his, but considering the situation at the time, I had no choice but to grit my teeth and agree. Brother Tiger Balabala said a lot of things. Anyway, it is for the sake of competing for interests. You mean, you want me to help you? Qin Sheng asked with a faint smile. Brother Yi, you are indeed a smart person. Brother Hu said flatteringly, I was just thinking, Brother Yi, you are so skilled, you naturally know a lot of people, maybe you know a lot of online game masters, so I'm here to beg you for help. When Qin Sheng didn't agree directly, because he never promised easily, because once he made a promise, it meant that he had to bear it. If it happens to be in time for your own auction, there is nothing you can do to help. It's tomorrow. If it can't be solved, I wouldn't bother Brother Yi. Brother Hu said on the phone. Well, you can rest assured about this matter, and I will help you solve it. Qin Sheng said confidently. Since Brother Yi has said so, I can rest assured. Brother Hu slapped his thigh and said happily. Immediately after, Brother Hu told Qin Sheng the agreed place and time tomorrow, and then hung up the phone. Early the next morning, Qin Sheng was woken up by a phone call calling for his life, and he answered the phone in a daze. Hello. Qin Sheng's voice was vague. Brother Sheng, are you still sleeping? Now the sun is burning your ass, how can you sleep? A familiar voice came over, and Qin Sheng knew it was Lu Mengxin without looking. What's the matter? Qin Sheng asked. He didn't know what Lu Mengxin was calling him at this time. Isn't it time for the auction soon? I want to live in your house and have a discussion with you. There was a slight trill in Lu Mengxin's voice. What? You want to live in my house? After listening to Lu Mengxin's words, Qin Sheng trembled all over. Without any sleepiness, a carp got up from the bed. Lu Mengxin wants to come to her home to sleep. What's going on? Your house is even more luxurious than mine. Why do you want to live in such a poor place like mine? Qin Sheng asked puzzled. I said, I'm because of tomorrow's auction. By the way, are you going to let me in or not? Lu Mengxin said angrily after hearing Qin Sheng's words. Oh, all right, I'll go right away. Qin Sheng opened the door and found Lu Mengxin standing at the door of his house. He didn't know when he arrived. 97%. Chapter 466 I am enough alone. Chapter 466 I am enough alone. What? Brother Sheng doesn't welcome me, or what's wrong? Lu Mengxin stared at Qin Sheng with eyebrows and asked angrily. Of course not, I'm just curious about how you are doing well, why would you want to live with me? But I definitely don't welcome you, on the contrary, I welcome you very much. If you want to live here, you can choose a room at will, although it's much more shabby than yours, so it's okay to pass by chance. Qin Sheng has a big brain on both sides, and a woman is really difficult to deal with. That's still acceptable. Lu Mengxin nodded reluctantly, understanding Qin's little fault. Next, Qin Sheng personally took Lu Mengxin around the villa. In the end, Lu Mengxin chose to make a bed in the room next to Luli, and it seemed that she planned to sleep here. Luli, mountain ghost, giant spirit god, look who's here. Qin Sheng walked to the dedicated gaming room for home use. There were only a few instruments in it, and the three of them got up early in the morning and started busying themselves. Brush level up. Who is it? Luli, Shangui, and Zhu Lingshan took off the instrument, with puzzled expressions on their faces. I wondered in my heart, could it be that Luo Li came back? Look. Qin Sheng signaled Luli and the others to look towards the door, and Lu Mengxin also cooperated and came out from behind the door, exposed to their sight. Lu Mengxin, Luli, Shangui, and Giant Spirit God exclaimed, and at the same time, they also had the same doubt in their hearts as Qin Sheng, so they asked in unison, why did you come back to live here? Could it be that you were expelled by your parents? Is the door open? But after asking these words, they ruled out this possibility. Everyone in the world knew that Lu Qingyan doted on his daughter. How could he be expelled from the house, and what was the reason? They couldn't figure it out. Ah, why are you all like Brother Sheng? It hurts my heart. Well, actually, I came this time to discuss with Brother Sheng about tomorrow's auction. Maybe I'll just stay for a day or two before leaving. Lu Mengxin replied with a sweet smile. Oh, so it's like this. Shan Gui, Alienation, and Giant Spirit God nodded understandingly. They had known for a long time that Qin Sheng wanted to get rid of some useless items in his hands, and the person he was looking for was Lu Mengxin. It is not very strange that things have developed like this now. Come on, the four of us form a team to fight monsters together, don't pay attention to Brother Chang. Lu Mengxin walked to the side of the three of them, and also put on the equipment on the side table. Okay, let's level up together. The other three people were also unequivocal. They brought up the equipment and wanted to enter the part again. Seeing this scene, Qin Sheng was a little choked up. Obviously he was the master of this family, how could he feel that he was the one being left out at this moment? Taking care of his emotions, Qin Sheng said to the four people who were about to form a team, I have an appointment with a friend today, you guys play first. I will send you a text message in advance when I come back. Cut. It's not because I'm staying at your house that you're eager to go out, right? Lu Mengxin rolled her eyes at Qin Sheng and said with a faint smile. No, there is absolutely nothing, don't worry. I will definitely be back in a short time, and we will discuss the auction with you in the evening. Qin Sheng smiled mischievously, turned around and left the gaming room. Brother Sheng really isn't thinking of going out because I'm here? Lu Mengxin asked casually. Sister Mengxin, this is impossible. It can only be said that Mr. Sheng has been going out more frequently recently, which doesn't mean anything. Shan Gui replied after looking at the direction Qin Sheng was leaving. Oh, Lu Mengxin nodded, expressing her understanding, but a faint smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. When Qin Sheng arrived at the location, there were already two people confronting each other. Everyone on Brother Hu's side holds a stick, while the other party rides around on a bicycle like a bosozoku. Brother Hu, is this the foreign aid you invited? It doesn't look very good. A man with the nose of an airplane watched Qin Sheng walk in, stopped the car immediately, and said mockingly. It's not good. It's not good. A group of younger brothers of the man at the head of the plane also followed his words and booed from behind. Qin Sheng was expressionless, but Brother Hu's veins burst out of anger, and he roared, Little piggies, you won't be able to be complacent for long, our Brother Yi is here. Needless to say, Brother Hu's roar really scared them for a while, but it was only for a moment. Instead, they who came over burst into laughter, and the man at the head of the plane restrained his smile and said coldly, Can he change the situation of the battle by himself? Asking for flowers. Brother Hu was stunned for a moment, and was speechless for a moment. Brother Hu. At this time, Qin Sheng walked up to Brother Hu, and said something lightly. Brother Yi must definitely call me Brother Hu. I can't stand it. You can just call me Xiaohu. I really like this name. Brother Hu bowed his head and said. He even thought that if they were no match for the fantasy online game, he would directly use force to solve the problem. He had seen Qin Sheng's ability to catch a bullet with his bare hands at such a short distance was completely beyond his understanding, and naturally it was not something this group of punks could deal with. Hey, little tiger, the little brother behind Brother Hu also called him in the same way. Go, go, this is Brother Yi's exclusive name for me. What are you doing here? Brother Hu glared at the booing younger brother, and then said to Qin Sheng, Brother Yi. I didn't call you want some friends to come over and wish me a favor. You promised quickly at the time, but now, why did I only see you alone? Brother Hu wanted to cry, but he seemed to have expected the ending in failure. I'm enough alone, no matter what kind of situation I encounter. Qin Sheng said indifferently. He didn't have any rhetoric, but it made people feel at ease. Brother Hu was taken aback for a moment. He immediately felt that Qin Sheng was not joking, and he couldn't help feeling a little more hopeful in his heart. What are you doing chattering about? Can we start? The man at the head of the plane asked impatiently. Eagle, Brother Yi is here, you will die no matter what happens today. Brother Hu said harshly. HMPH, I'm a player on the top list, but you're just a top player on the bottom list. In terms of strength, you are far worse than me. And the young man you invited here, I don't believe he is the top player on the top list, because you can't invite them either. The man at the head of the plane said self-righteously, but after Brother Hu finished saying that, he didn't say a word. This made his fist feel so powerless as if he had hit a ball of cotton. 97%. Chapter 467 Interest Struggle. Chapter 467 Interest Struggle. Playing tricks. The man at the head of the plane sneered, but he didn't pay attention to Qin Sheng. Oh, by the way, brother Hu, didn't you mean to fight the boss on the opposite side, that is, the guy with the airplane head named Eagle? It's useless if you ask me to come over. Could it be that you can beat him in groups? Qin Sheng wondered asked. Of course not. I'm the strongest on our side, but I'm only ranked 104th on the Earth list. Compared with the masters on the sky list, it's still far behind, but on our side, except for me who can compete within the first battle, there is no possibility for others, brother Hu said helplessly. That is to say, what we have said before is 1-on-1, 3 consecutive games, which side wins twice. It shows that the overall strength of the younger brother is stronger than the other side, and we will win the first game. The key is the second match of 787. Both sides send 10 younger brothers to fight each other. Whoever wins and whose younger brother has the last laugh will show which side wins. And this is to test the top level of the younger brothers of both sides, strength. Hu Jie blah 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 blah, and Qin Sheng finally understood what he meant. You mean, you want me to call more people over to help you participate in the second game, because your little brother's top level is not as good as theirs? Qin Sheng made an application suddenly realized, and said slowly. Almost. But it's impossible to win the first game. We can only win one game at most, and we definitely can't win the other 2 games. I was counting on Brother Yi. Brother Yi, didn't I emphasize it to you last night? We need to bring more friends over, not just in case, but 10,000. Didn't you hear? Brother Hu was helpless. Oh, I forgot. Qin Sheng really didn't remember what he said later. Anyway, with his own strength, it would be easy to kill everyone present, and he didn't bother to remember these trivial details. Brother Hu was in a cold sweat, but at this point, he could only choose to trust Qin Sheng. Go and deal with that person at 18,892. Remember, you must win. Brother Hu pointed to the short man with kidney deficiency, and gave the order. The short man nodded to express his understanding. Brother Hu immediately walked to Qin Sheng's side and said, Brother Yi, there is another player with a rank of 2,285 on the opposite side. I'll leave it to you, can you solve it? What? Qin Sheng let out a strange cry, with an expression of disbelief. Brother Yi, is the opponent stronger? How about handing over the player who ranks 18,892 to you? Brother Hu thought Qin Sheng was afraid, so Song had to compromise. After all, he doesn't know much about Qin Sheng's strength now, so he doesn't know how to allocate it. Anyway, the short guy is pretty sure against the player ranked 18,892 on the opposite side. But if you deal with the opponent's 2,285 players, you will lose a lot. In addition, he would lose 9 times out of 10 against the Eagles. He was already prepared to lose all 3 rounds. No, what I mean is, his strength is too weak. For an opponent of this level, if I stand still and fight him, he won't even be able to break through my protective gear. Qin Sheng said truthfully. Brother Hu cheered up for a while when he heard what Qin Sheng said before, but after hearing what Qin Sheng said later, he had the right to think that he was bragging. That's right, the armor can't be broken even if you stand still, which proves how good the person who made the shot is and how strong the armor is. To them, De Bang is considered the best of the best. I said, are you stupid? You are ranked 104th in the local list, and you are going to deal with more than 2,000 players on the opposite side. Why do you have to fight the Eagle? Qin Chen continued. Brother Hu was at a loss for words for a while. If he didn't come to deal with the Eagle, who would deal with the Eagle? If you leave it to the other younger brothers to play, you will definitely be defeated in one blow. Okay, just leave this Eagle to me, and you can deal with the more than 2,000 players in that local leaderboard. Qin Sheng seemed to see Brother Hu's worry, and patted him on the shoulder, reassuring Road. That's fine. Brother Hu reluctantly nodded, and then he rearranged the order of playing. Are you ready? I'm waiting for you guys. Eagle raised his head and urged Brother Hu and the others. Short, you go. Remember, you can only win, not lose. Brother Hu said such a sentence, and then let the little short and the opponent PK. That's what I guessed, so I deliberately kept a hand. The Eagle looked at the little dwarf on the stage and smiled, as if he had expected something. He continued, so I specially invited 1,200 people on the list player, as his opponent. What? Hearing this, Brother Hu's face suddenly became ugly. The little dwarf's ranking on the local list is only 3,112, a difference of nearly 2,000. How can he win? I was careless. I didn't expect the Eagles to invite foreign aid. Brother Who reflected on himself in his heart. As everyone expected, the little dwarf still lost to the 1200th ranked player on the opposite side. Brother Who, I can't do anything. I lost the first match, thanks to your trust in me before. The little man walked up to Brother Who and said with self-blame. It's okay. It's not your fault. No one knows that the Eagles will invite a player with 1,000 or so rankings. This matter is also my fault. If I play the first game, the situation may be much better. Brother Who told the dwarf not to take it to heart. But he was extremely aggrieved in his heart, as if he had invited foreign aid, he couldn't come out and condemn him for always asking for foreign aid. Ha ha ha, Brother Who, today I'm going to win 3 games in a row. I'll win the first game first, which will make you feel uncomfortable. Seeing Brother Who's deflated expression, Eagle was overwhelmed with joy. 3.4. I'm afraid this won't be as you wished, because the second victory can only be said to belong to us. Brother Who entered the game together with players ranked over 2,000 on the opposite table. My sow, you are too cowardly. How can you rely on this method to win a game, so that it is better to lose? Forget it. Even if you come out, there will be no one on your side to watch. You are destined to lose the first game. Eagle felt very sad, but when he thought of winning, he let go. After hearing what the Eagle said, Brother Who didn't say a word, but threw himself into the game wholeheartedly. It didn't take long for him to solve the problem of players who ranked more than 2,000 on the opposite table. It's a 1-to-1 tie. Eagle, don't be too happy. Brother Who glanced at Eagle, and shot back in the same way. 97%. Chapter 468 Repudiation. Chapter 468 Repudiation. Haha, Paper Tiger, you are already the strongest. The rest of you are just soldiers and generals. What are you going to do with me? Eagle smiled disdainfully, completely ignoring Brother Who's words. Then you just wait and see. Brother Who didn't say anything more, but turned his head and said to Qin Shang, Brother Yi, I will leave the Eagle to you. I have fought against him several times, and I know some details about him. Let's talk to you, Daoming first, so you also have a score in your heart. No need. Qin Shang shook his head, walked directly to the side, and put on the instrument. Are you kidding me? Does he need all the bells and whistles? Kid who doesn't know the heights of the heavens and the depths of the earth. The Eagle said with a ferocious face when he saw Qin Shang belittle him so much. Stop talking nonsense. Start quickly. I have to go back to level up, and leveling up outside will affect efficiency too much. Qin Shang urged. It seems that you can't wait to ask for abuse. That's okay, I will satisfy your request. Eagle also put on the 15 device and entered the game. Lonely Eagle. Level 59. Attribute. The fist gathers powerful power. Anyone who is hit by a punch has a 20% chance of triggering a critical strike. Position. Fighter. Skill. Heaven and Earth Punch HP. 8650 8650ths of a megapixel, 2200 2000ths. Boy, hurry up and make a move. I only let you make one move, and I will make the move if you know what to do with one move, so you must use all your strength for this move. Eagle folded his arms around his chest and looked at Qin Shang disdainfully. Glance. Haha, interesting. Since you're so confident, I'm not going to be courteous. Qin Shang smiled, without being pretentious, and pulled out the Blade of God. Ping-a, it seems that you are looking for death. The Eagle watched Qin Shang lightly swiping his sword, his face full of indifference. When Qin Shang approached him with a fluttering sword, the Eagle's face suddenly turned aside. Just now when he was far away, he hadn't noticed the power of flattening until it came to his side, he felt a devastating power. Damn it, a punch from heaven and earth. The Eagle didn't dare to be careless, and quickly used his big move, trying to counteract Qin Shang's blow. PFF'd. At the moment of contact, the sound of the sword piercing through the flesh sounded, and the Eagle's fist collapsed instantly, and then the terrifying power bombarded him. 28,050. Ever since, the Eagles were eliminated. Wow, the people on Brother Who's side shouted. Brother Yi is mighty, you are really our hero. The leaf grows the most hanging, and the Eagle is a chick in front of you. Brother Yi, when will you have time to fly with me? I would like to worship you as a god. As for the little brothers on the Eagle side, they all looked at each other in blank dismay, speechless. Boss lost. How far away? What else can we do? Always abide by the rules on the road and give up our territory. How could it be? Our boss is a master who ranks 875th in the sky list. Who is that young man? He was able to tie A with one blow and directly killed the boss. You ask me, who should I ask? Who the hell are you? Eagle took off the instrument, with a gloomy and terrifying face. Who am I? You don't deserve to know. But you have already lost, so you should accept the bet and fulfill your promise. Qin Sheng took off the instrument, looked at the eagle and said calmly. What if I don't? Eagle eyes fixed on Qin Sheng, trying to get out. Hearing the panic caught in the eyes. But he was disappointed. Qin Sheng was calm and didn't look flustered at all. He smiled lightly and said, if you don't keep your promise, I might make you go all the way. Just by you. The eagle sneered as if he had heard a big joke. Just by you. Still want to deal with the 30 or so brothers behind me? Dream on you. Even if you add the paper tiger's 20s people, you are absolutely impossible to be our opponents. You misunderstood what I meant. What I meant was that I alone is enough. Qin Sheng sat on a chair, with an air of aloofness and control of the overall situation. Want to die? Brothers, copy the guys. As the eagle's voice fell, the brother behind him took out his stick and looked fierce. Brother who? Brother Yi is about to be besieged by them, we are on the way. Whoever dares to hurt me, Brother Yi, just feel sorry for me, and I will never sit idly by. You dare to hurt Brother Yi? Then pass my test first. The younger brothers on Brother Hu's side were also gearing up and stood up one after another, wanting to help Qin Sheng. Stand back. Brother Hu waved his hand and stopped a group of his younger brothers. Eagle thought that Brother Hu was scared. He was relieved and at the same time secretly rejoiced. He said with a smile, it seems that Brother Hu is more general, knowing that the two sides are going to war, no one can get good results, right? Since Brother Hu has done such a good job, then I, Eagle, will naturally have to express it. Well, from now on, I, Eagle, will no longer touch your territory, and we will clear up the two sides, what do you think? After hearing what the eagle said, Brother Hu just sneered and didn't answer. This eagle thought quite beautifully. According to their previous bet, whoever loses will have to give up all his territory. He wants to be empty-handed. Brother Hu didn't reply to Eagle's words, but turned around, and taught a lesson to his younger brothers. Brother Yi is excellent in martial arts, do you need your rookies to help? You just stay here to watch the excitement, don't you are causing trouble to Brother Yi. Bastard. Eagle's face was as ugly as if he had eaten shit. Not only do they underestimate themselves so much, but they also ignore themselves, which makes him a boss. How can it be so embarrassing? Brother Hu, I thought you were a sensible person, but now it seems that you are also a hot-headed reckless man. Eagle's face was gloomy, and then he waved his palm lightly and said lightly. No one moved behind, even my little brother started to ignore me. Boss, we've already lost. It's time to honor the bet. Otherwise, if you don't comply with the rules of the Tao, you will be sanctioned. A person who looked like the second in command walked up to Eagle and reminded him in a low voice. Shabi, if you hand over the territory, we will have nothing, so we are here, and we must not back down. The eagle slapped him on the head and shouted sharply, Go. Go up to the guy. If something happens, I will cover it. As soon as the words came out, a group of younger brothers behind the eagle looked at each other, their eyes were floating, and they seemed to be struggling. 98%. Chapter 469 Are you here to be funny? Chapter 469 Are you here to be funny? I'll give you a chance. If you and your group of brothers can bring me down, I'll agree to your request. How about it? Qin Sheng finally stood up. So good. The eagle looked suspicious. According to their thinking, it is impossible for more than 30 people not to win against Qin Sheng. Is Qin Sheng giving them a step down, or is there another way? I still don't believe it. Your words can't represent everything. After all, this is a fight between Brother Hu and me. You don't have the right to decide so many things. Eagle shook his head and looked at Qin Sheng suspiciously. Ying, why have you become so cowardly? What Brother Yi means is what I mean. Not only are you clearing up each other, but as long as you win, you can even give up our territory. This time it was Brother Hu who laughed at Eagle. The eagle did not have the vigor before, and said with a faint smile, Brother Hu, this is what you said yourself, I just asked my younger brother to record it. As he said that, the eagle wanted to come over to a younger brother's mobile phone, and there was a recording in the mobile phone, which was exactly what Brother Hu said just now. Of course it's true. I'm not like someone who wants to renege on the dead after losing. It's really shameful, Brother Hu said disdainfully. Although Lao Ying was in a hurry, what Brother Hu said was also true. For a moment, he was speechless, leaving only one cruel sentence. Brother Hu, I will make you kneel and beg for mercy later. Little brothers, now the goal is very clear. As long as we defeat the man in front of us, we can not only defend our territory, but also take over Brother Hu's territory in one fell swoop. Don't beat him to death. Okay. The eagle turned around, and said to his group of younger brothers with great emotion. Wow, they were extremely excited. Before, they were only scruples about the rules on the road, so they fell into the entanglement of whether to shoot or not to shoot. Since Brother Hu is willing to give them a chance, they are not considered to be breaking the road now. Ruled out. Boy, regret coming to this world, feel remorse for what happened before. Eagle led a group of his younger brothers, holding sticks in their hands, approaching Qin Sheng with a ferocious face. It's a lot of nonsense, hurry up if you want to do it. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he yawned a long time, and he stretched himself a lot. Bastard. Qin Sheng's casual gesture instantly aroused the anger of the crowd, and they all went in Qin Sheng's direction. The posture is good, but are you blind? If I hadn't pinched your wrist, your swinging stick would have hit your own people. A man's swinging stick swung over. Qin Sheng was only on one side, he easily dodged it. At the same time, he grabbed the man's wrist and gave him a temporary lecture. Another blow came. Qin Sheng turned his head to the side, and said lightly, such a beautiful posture, are you here to show off or to fight? The body movements are so big, I would have dodged by the time you swung down. Dare I ask, is your family from a family of woodcutters? Please, can you be more professional when you use the swinging stick? I saw you trembling and thought you had epilepsy in children. And your hips are so wide apart, it's too boring to fight, do you want to perform a cross for us? I'm sorry, I don't have such a bad taste. While avoiding these people's moves, Qin Sheng complained, which caused these people to collapse. Brother Hu is Qin Sheng so obsessed? It's like playing with more than 30 big men. Someone choked on his saliva and said stiffly. I've said it a long time ago, Brother Yi is very powerful, or do you think I'd bet on our territory casually? I know it in my heart. Brother Hu looked at Qin Sheng with a full face of admiration. But, this is too powerful. As far as I know, ordinary special forces can only deal with 3 or 5 ordinary people, but Brother Yi can deal with more than 30 big men by himself. Isn't that a bit fake? Some people still couldn't believe their eyes. The last time we met Brother Yi, he knocked us all down with just one person, so what happened now is also within my expectations. People, stand up and say. Scumbag, I saw him catch the bullet with his bare hands and he was unscathed. Brother Hu became complacent when he knew something about Qin Sheng. What are you doing, brother? You haven't been deterred by his strength. Brother Hu, is what you said true? He can catch bullets with his bare hands. Is he still human? Someone asked in a trembling voice. If Brother Hu didn't often brag like them, they might become tiger chefs. Just kidding. Quote. I don't need to lie to you. Brother Hu rolled his eyes and replied speechlessly. Brother Hu, Brother Yi chased you after going out, what happened? Brothers all want to know. A person looked at Brother Hu with longing eyes, with hope on his face. But Brother Hu thought about it, and slapped his face to one side, and murmured, damn, you gay, look at me again, I must shave your eyes. After finishing speaking, Brother Hu collected his mood and began to talk about the situation that day vividly. He was not at all embarrassed by being hanged and beaten by Qin Sheng that day. That's right, after all, it fell into Qin Sheng's hands, and they would only think it was normal. I'm FKED. Standing on the edge of the eagle, seeing that Brother Hu didn't worry about Qin Sheng at all, and started a story lecture instead, he felt very uncomfortable. What the hell are Brother Hu and his group doing? Are they not afraid of losing the game and losing their territory? And this idol Wang Li's kung fu giving story lectures. When they lose the game later, they will cry. Also, how strange is this young man? My subordinates haven't taken him yet, and his movement is also very fast. But it doesn't matter, he is just fast. Our advantage lies in the large number of people. When his strength is exhausted, they will lose. Eagle secretly considered the current situation. Slowly, it's so slow that I can't even touch the corner of my clothes. What else do you think you can do? Qin Sheng couldn't help complaining after dodging another blow easily. A group of Eagle's little brothers want to cry but have no tears. Now, they are not only crushed in strength, but also suffered a huge blow physically and mentally. I am afraid that it will be difficult to heal from now on. Boy, if you have the ability, don't hide in hiding, and fight us head on, so that you can do what a man can do. The eagle shouted. 98%. 470th chapters must fight. Chapter 470th must fight. Qin Sheng has seen shameless people before, but he has never seen one who can bring shamelessness to this level. A group of people deal with him alone, and he still sits on the ground and raises the price with himself. Ah. Since you ask so much, I can't refuse, just do as you wish. Qin Sheng really didn't hide in hiding anymore, but stood where he was, waiting for the sticks and fists of a group of people. Although Qin Sheng stood there without moving, looking more like he was waiting to die, but at this moment, there was a trace of uneasiness in Eagle's heart. He didn't know where this inexplicable feeling came from, it was very subtle. Ah! In the next moment, the continuous screams echoed in the dilapidated warehouse. In the next scene, someone was holding a twisted iron rod in a daze, someone was crying bitterly while holding his weak arm, someone was rolling on the ground with his arms around his feet. The scene was extremely tragic. What happened at that moment just now? Eagle opened his eyes wide and muttered to himself. He just saw Qin Sheng transform into N Taoist clones, just like there are N Qin Kangs. When the eyes reacted again, it had already become like this. Brother, I was wrong, you just bypassed me. I am willing to give all my territory with both hands, no. Even 377 can give all my property with both hands, just to spare my life. The eagle immediately knelt on the ground and said in horror. There is no way, people will choose to surrender under the instinctive fear. Qin Sheng took a slight step forward. The eagle thought he was going to attack him, so the pores of his body stood up in fright, and he said quickly, Brother, don't kill me. I have an 80-year-old mother on top of me, and my mother on the bottom. My 3-year-old daughter is waiting for me. Don't be nervous. Qin Sheng was slightly taken aback, because the dare-love eagle was afraid of himself. He is also very helpless. It turns out that being too strong is also a sin. He stepped forward to help the eagle up, and said jokingly, Look at you old man, how afraid you are, I don't want your life, at most I want all your territory. That's good. That's good. Eagle nodded quickly, and finally heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. As long as he didn't want to die, he could say anything. By the way, the game is not over. Isn't there a second game? We will continue the second game. As long as you win the second game, you can still come back. BFCA, it turned out that Qin Sheng pulled the eagles up, just wanted to move on to the second game. Brother, don't. I'll give you all my territory. We're not going to compete in this match. Let's admit defeat. Cold sweat flowed from Eagle's forehead. After seeing Qin Sheng's strength, how dare he be cold? Even if they win in the end, they don't dare to ask for it. Moreover, it is impossible for them to win. Qin Sheng's strength can kill him in seconds. He estimates that Qin Sheng's strength can at least face 2 or 3 players of the same level as himself. Players, what do they compare with? Eagle's younger brother also nodded, agreeing with his opinion very much. They don't want to provoke the evil spirit Qin Sheng anymore. I'll also add a condition this time. Qin Sheng changed his voice, bewitching the eagle again. What condition? Eagle asked reflexively. That's the second team battle. We won't send one person to assist me, but you can send 10 people to fight me, or even everyone present. What do you think? Qin Sheng was full of enthusiasm. The bewitching voice kept hovering in Eagle's ears. The eagle's heart twitched slightly. It was so good, but as soon as he considered Qin Sheng's mysterious methods, he suppressed the greed in his heart. He said helplessly, Brother, I don't want my territory anymore, so I will give it to you, and I don't want to fight anymore. After the eagle finished speaking, Qin Sheng's face suddenly turned cold. Eagle naturally noticed the change in Qin Sheng, and immediately felt a thump in his heart, thinking to himself, did he say something wrong? Eagle, don't you think that I am no match for you, so you don't want to fight me? The smile on Qin Sheng's face was replaced by a cold look. Brother Yi, that's definitely not the case. I just suddenly remembered that my wife wants me to go shopping with her today. I can't delay any longer. Eagle smiled bitterly and said with a stiff expression. He felt extremely helpless. At this moment he didn't want to pat his butt off, but he couldn't decide. Then I've made it clear, today you have to fight if you don't agree to fight, and you have to fight if you agree to fight. Apart from that, you have no other choice. Qin Sheng said lightly, his lips parted. This. Okay. Without a second choice, the eagle had no choice but to agree to this request. Brothers, let's go online and enter the PK field together. Eagle yelled weakly. Yes. Eagle's younger brothers shook their heads and responded in a low voice. For them, whether they win or lose this game, the territory will still belong to Qin Sheng and the others, so why should they stay here? After seeing Qin Sheng's strength, They just wanted to escape from this place of right and wrong as soon as possible. If possible, it would be nice if I didn't come here today, but it's too late to regret it now, so I can only bite the bullet. I said in advance that if anyone dares to put water in the game, I will definitely beat him to the point of paralysis after he comes out of the game. Before entering the game, Qin Sheng suddenly said such a sentence, telling the eagle to wait. People are like falling into an ice cellar. Brother Hu, Brother Yi has already dealt with Eagle and the others. At this time, Brother Hu and the others finished his story lecture. That's normal, but how did they get into the game? Brother Hu was full of doubts. Why are all the people on the Eagle's side entering the game? Some people were puzzled. It's not good, Brother Hu. Brother Yi is planning to use his own strength to deal with all the people on the Eagle's side. Someone pointed to the screen and said in panic. If there is Qin Sheng, the strongest foreign aide, they are sure to win the second game. But now Qin Sheng has to face more than 30 players alone, so they are inevitably worried about Lai. How could Brother Yi be so reckless? Why didn't he ask us to come together? This game is over, and everything has come to naught. Stop talking. At this time, we can only choose to trust Brother Yi. How can you trust? There are more than 30 players on the opposite side. Even if you are a great master, it is impossible to deal with it. After all, 2 fists are hard to defeat 4 hands, right? Hush, don't argue. The game is about to start. 98%. 470th chapter subside. Chapter 471 subside. Brother Yi, are you sure we want to get serious? Eagle asked again with a bitter smile. He had expected that Qin Sheng would be defeated by one of them, and he would settle accounts with them after they went out. What nonsense, do I need to emphasize it again? If someone hides his strength, I will let him walk around. Qin Chen said in a cold tone. Hearing these words, Eagle and his younger brothers trembled, feeling distressed in their hearts. Brothers, did you hear that? Brother Yi told us to take action, otherwise, before Brother Yi makes a move, I will personally condolence to you. The eagle had no choice but to give this order. Yes, the little brothers nodded quickly, indicating that they knew what they meant. Come and catch me first. Seeing the players swarming toward him, Qin Sheng not only didn't panic in the slightest, but instead laughed out loud with fighting intent in his eyes. Yang, light, Pu, shine. As the words Qin Sheng fell, the sky suddenly turned dark clouds, golden light was shining brightly, and divine lights hovered above the sky, as if they would come to the land of photos at any time. God has descended. God, please bless my children and grandchildren. Is God here to cheer us up? When Lao Ying and others saw this exaggerated scene, they all thought they were gods from heaven, and knelt down to worship. No, this is not the descending of a god, but the power of Brother Yi's attack. I don't know who yelled such a sentence, but the players present immediately realized that the earth-shattering scene in front of them was actually caused by the power of Qin Sheng's skills. Oh my god, is this already the full level? The unheard of terrifying power. Even if it didn't hit me directly, I'm afraid I'd be indifferent. Brother Yi, spare me, I won't die. The players present were dumbfounded and begged for mercy. Fight. If you don't fight, you die. Qin Sheng's Sanskrit sound penetrated into their hearts like falling from the sky. Fight. Yes, at least there is still a slim chance of survival. Before, I planned to hide part of my strength, so it seems that even if I use all my strength, I don't know if I can resist Zuyu's first attack. We have so many people, why panic? Listen to my command, use all your strength to resist, and don't worry about the rest. Eagle ordered in an orderly manner, but to be honest, he really didn't know what to do. But if others know that the 30 or so of them have been abused by a player, how can they get a foothold in the fantasy online game in the future? It would be a shame to throw them back to their hometowns. It's not too bad. Then, let's take the move. Qin Sheng watched Lao Ying and the others regain their fighting spirit, and then nodded in satisfaction. As his words fell, the supreme light that had been gathering momentum in the sky instantly illuminated the whole world. Brothers, hold on. More than 30 players displayed their skills at the same time to resist Qin Sheng's sunshine. Colorful rays of light poured out, and Qin Sheng's sunshine also collided head-on with their skills. Zzz. The energy light balls swung by each player seemed to be buried, and they were as short-lived as fireworks, dissipating in an instant. Ah! They screamed, and the slightly weakened sunshine attacked them, and then they were sent out by the system. How come? Eagle took off the instrument and muttered to himself, his brain caught in a short circuit. Compared with him, a group of his subordinates were even more unbearable. They were all dumbfounded and looked a little funny with disbelief. We won both games, so don't say we were coerced by force when you go out. In addition, the interests mentioned in the bet must be settled with Xiaohu. Other interests and property, you can handle it yourself. Qin Sheng faced the eagle and the others, and said calmly. Yes, yes, since Brother Yi has said so, we will naturally not ask for trouble. Then, Brother Yi, let's go first, and once we return to my territory, we will distribute the benefits and hand them over to you. Come here. The eagle, who reacted immediately, bowed his head and said. Qin Sheng nodded slightly. Then, Brother Yi, can we go? Eagle hesitated for a while before asking. The matter has been done, you can do whatever you want. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he ignored the eagle and the others. Let's go. After the eagle finished speaking, he ran away immediately, even his brothers ignored him. Boss, wait for us. A group of eagle's younger brothers looked at Qin Sheng in horror, and then left with his boss. Qin Sheng watched Lao Ying and the others run away. He couldn't help shaking his head helplessly, thinking silently, could he be so scary? Brother Yi, it's really thanks to you this time. If it wasn't for you, my brothers and I would probably be here today. Brother Hu walked up and said gratefully. As for the group of younger brothers behind him, they looked at Qin Sheng in awe. It's just a small matter, nothing to worry about. Qin Sheng shook his head indifferently, not taking this matter to heart at all. 0. By the way, don't you have hundreds of brothers? You said that the eagles only came to a few dozen people. I still believe it. After all, this is not their territory. But this is your territory. Sending a dozen or so brothers is a little unreasonable. Are you afraid that they will go back and laugh at you? Qin Sheng asked suspiciously. I really want to pull all the brothers over, even if fantasy online games are not as powerful as them, at least I can hold them down in terms of momentum, but... Brother Hu changed the subject, and then said, but the point is, they are creating a very important dungeon right now, and they can't come out yet, so I brought some elite brothers out, presumably there are so many of them, one dungeon can still be done. Let's brush it. Oh, what kind of dungeon are you doing? Looking at you, you seem to care about that dungeon. Qin Sheng was a little interested. What kind of dungeon is it that actually uses hundreds of players? Even more, although the strength of these players is not very good. To be honest, we are not here for the reward for completing the mission, but for the refining stone in the dungeon. This thing is used to inlay on the weapon. It is definitely priceless. Brother Hu said excitedly. Can I still enter the copy now? Qin Sheng asked. My Beautian gourd has been upgraded to 2 levels, and my normal self has no chance to use the energy stored in the gourd, and it has no effect at all. 98%. Chapter 472. Is there any difficulty? Chapter 472. Is there any difficulty? But now, there is a ready-made opportunity in front of his eyes, how could he miss it? This. Brother Hu hesitated for a while, as if there was something unspeakable, he finally nodded. What's the matter? Is there any difficulty? Qin Sheng naturally noticed the change in Brother Hu, and asked after being silent for a while. My brothers have already entered, and now I want to enter the dungeon again. It is impossible to enter without spending some money. Brother Hu smiled bitterly. It turned out that he was entangled in this matter. Qin Sheng wants to cry but has no tears. It's about money, but it's not about it. What? You have established an organization with hundreds of people, and you can't even afford this little money. But he was still a little curious, so he asked directly. Brother Yi, you don't know something about 173 inches. I was a street gangster before, with my own gang of friends, doing nothing every day. It's just that the dream online game that suddenly became popular, made me turn my brains and realize there is an opportunity to make a fortune right in front of my eyes. That is to set up a gang. Just do what you think. My brothers and I created a gang. These days, we have created an offline studio, and the rest of the funds are for operating the studio. Brother Hu explained Road. After listening to Brother Hu's words, it is not difficult for Qin Sheng to understand that Brother Hu's studio is in a state of prosperity. Otherwise, it would not be possible to create a studio under the premise that the fantasy online game has only appeared for 2 months. Don't worry, I'll pay for the Krypton gold in the dungeon, and I only need a few refining stones to upgrade my equipment. As for the rest, I don't care about it at all. Qin Sheng is not so overbearing. Members of a guild all go into the dungeon to pick refining stones, and the amount of refining stones is naturally not a small amount. Qin Sheng knew this, but he didn't open his mouth like a lion. After all, he didn't need so many refining stones, and putting them on his body would be a hindrance. Brother Yi helped so much today, even half of the refining stone is not an exaggeration. Brother Hu said sincerely. If it weren't for Qin Sheng's willingness to help them today, their organization would cease to exist, and the eagles and the others would be taken advantage of in vain. Therefore, even if Qin Sheng gave up the entire refining stone, it would not be an exaggeration at all. Qin Sheng just shook his head slightly, indicating that he didn't need so much. Brother Hu can't force it. After all, their game studio is also extremely short of refining stones. Otherwise, it would not be such a big deal. Most brothers are still completing their residency in dungeons. After walking out, Brother Hu hails 3 taxis casually, and stuffs a dozen people into them together. Qin Sheng looked at Brother Hu with a complicated expression. This is it too shabby. If Brother Hu didn't tell you, no one would really know. He manages a guild with hundreds of people. Brother Yi, I'm sorry, it's all forced by life. Brother Hu seemed to see what Qin Sheng was thinking, and said with an embarrassed smile at him. As for his gang of brethren, it was no surprise. After driving for about 10 minutes, the taxi stopped in front of a building. At first glance, Qin Sheng has at least 30 to 50 floors, and the outside looks very extravagant. How did Brother Hu create such a good studio, and even the company, how to travel or rely on taxis? Before coming here, he thought it was just a small room, at most like a residential house, but the scene in front of him completely reversed what he thought in his heart. This is what you call a studio. This size is not considered a studio, but a company. Qin Sheng glanced at Brother Hu and said speechlessly. Yi Zhe, you misunderstood. We just bought a floor through crowdfunding. We usually gather here for any activities. If I create a game studio, I will stand here. Brother Hu showed embarrassment. I see. Qin Sheng nodded slightly, accepting Brother Hu's words. Brother Yi, come here. Brother Hu took Qin Sheng up to the 32nd floor, and pushed open the heavy and clumsy door, behind which was the sound of unsuitable machines beeping. At a glance, there are at least hundreds of game devices, and the price of each device is quite high. If this floor was bought by Brother Hu, and the game equipment was not rented, then Qin Sheng would have to treat him differently. After all, it is extremely difficult to develop from scratch to this level. Give them a little time to develop, and it is not impossible to create a game company. At this time, most of the instruments inside were filled with people, and their consciousness had already entered the game. Brother Hu is not good at telling them to welcome Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng doesn't care about it. Xiaohu, with Krypton gold in hand, you can enter the game directly. Qin Sheng found a seat at random, put on the instrument, and turned to Brother Hu. Yes, Brother Yi, wait for me, I'll go in and guide you. Brother Hu nodded slightly, then sat at the side, and entered the fantasy online game with Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng and Hu Zhe met in the fantasy online game world. The moment he saw Brother Hu, Qin Sheng couldn't believe his eyes. In the real world, the rough-looking Brother Hu actually transformed into a gentleman with long flowing hair in the dream online game. So, online dating should be cautious. Qin Sheng muttered in his heart. Brother Yi, why are you still hiding your ID? Brother Hu complained as soon as he came to Qin Sheng's side. I'm Sao. You have such a low ID as Hu Sheng Wei. Are you embarrassed to call me? It feels like Hu Sheng Wei in the Pleasant Goat movie series. Qin Sheng didn't complain about him. Instead, I was complained about first, and I was naturally unhappy. Looking at Brother Hu's appearance as a white-faced scholar, coupled with this naughty ID, Qin Sheng really can't understand, what kind of thinking does Brother Hu have for 5.1, and let himself go like this. Hey, Brother Hu smiled, but he didn't take it seriously, and then he took Qin Sheng to the suburbs, bought a lot of money, and entered the dungeon. In front of the eyes, the birds are singing, the flowers are fragrant, and the greenery is abundant. 10 wonderful paradises are now in front of Taikong and Hushi. Walking along the winding path, the two came to the place where the NPC lived. Hello, is there a place to spawn monsters near here? Qin Sheng found an NPC and asked. As soon as they entered the copy, they discovered the village, and nothing else was found. Now that the NPCs are in front of them, Qin Sheng will naturally not let these guides go, but will look for clues by himself. 98%. Chapter 473 It's really not worthwhile to do so. Chapter 473 It's really not worthwhile to do so. Qin Sheng believes that as long as there is a place where wild monsters can be spawned, it must be not far from their refining stone. Brave players, don't you all come here for those refining stones? NPC asked suspiciously as he looked at Qin Sheng and Hu Zhe. That's impossible. You don't know how dangerous it is. There are people coming and going, although some people have picked the refining stone, but most of them were injured, and some even died because of it. It's really not worthwhile to do this. NPC with a sigh, he slowly shook his head to indicate that he didn't want to tell Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng's face froze. He didn't expect the NPC to guess right, so he followed him and said, "Your words are very true, but I didn't come here this time for those refining stones or for those brothers. As you said, they are seriously injured. I advise them to stop in time." That's really great. The NPC's face showed joy. These 15 players who disturbed their peaceful life are finally leaving now. As for Brother Hu, his expression was anxious. 9 out of 10 of the people mentioned by the NPC were his brothers, and their injuries seemed to be serious, so how could he not go to court? At this moment, he just wanted to get there as quickly as possible so that he could preside over the scene and minimize their damage. But there are some things that really can't be rushed. Brother, I won't bother you to lead the way. After all, the front is full of dangers. It's not worthwhile to accidentally lose your life. In this way, you can point me in a direction. How about we find it ourselves? Qin Sheng was shocked when he heard the NPC's words. If the NPC brought them there, wouldn't he know their intention of coming here, and it was also for refining stones? Fortunately, he said that it was to bring back his brothers. Although it was too late for the NPC to regret it when the time came, and there was nothing they could do about it, but Qin Sheng always felt that it was not good for the NPC to increase their dislike for him. He couldn't tell what was going on with this inexplicable feeling. That's good. Hearing Qin Sheng's words, the NPC flinched a bit, as if remembering the horror at that moment, raised his hand timidly, and pointed in one direction. Thank you, Qin Sheng replied politely, and then he and Brother Hu galloped towards the direction pointed by the NPC. Strange people, I hope they can leave this place as soon as the Lord said, so as not to disturb our peace. Looking at the leaving figures of Qin Sheng and Brother Hu, the NPC whispered. And Qin Sheng, who was busy getting the refining stone, and Brother Hu, who was worried about his brother's injury, naturally had no time to pay attention to everything outside at this time. 10 minutes later, Qin Kong and Brother Hu arrived at the point pointed by the NPC. Roar. As soon as they approached, the two heard a beast-like roar resounding through the sky. Qin Sheng and Brother Hu looked at each other, not knowing what was going on in front of them, but after being dazed for a while, they both started walking towards the source of the sound at the same time. Brothers, hold on, get a little more refining stone, and you will be able to complete the required amount of tasks. A red-haired man held a silver giant sword and shouted towards the front of the crowd. Come on, fight. For money, for Shiguang, get fat. The players present, although their breaths were sluggish, their eyes were filled with madness, as if they were insane, and there was a tendency of swearing to die together, because of the giant beast prostrate in front of them. With the giant beast's long tail swinging, the players who were lucky enough to be swept by the long tail were either teleported out, or left with only residual blood, lingering. At the end of the day, one player actually sacrificed for this, while the other two players, with only residual blood left, sneaked out of the frontline battlefield, hid behind to recover their blood, and waited for an opportunity. It's so powerful. Impossible. We can't deal with this kind of monster. Run away. This kind of monster can kill us instantly, and its armor is so high, it is impossible for us to win. Remember, our task is only to hold back the giant beast in front of us, not to defeat it. Have you forgotten the task Brother Hu entrusted to us? Have you forgotten the contemptuous eyes others looked at us? The red-haired man looked at the people who lost their fighting spirit one after another spoke again. Be careful, I don't know who said such a sentence in the crowd. You are the leader of this group of people, aren't you? It's disgusting, go to hell. The giant beast swept its tail, and even swept towards the red-haired man. Looking at the remaining blood volume of the red-haired man, only 20% is left. It can be said that he can't take the sweeping attack of the giant beast. The red-haired man could only helplessly, watching the giant beast's long tail grow bigger in his eyes, but there was nothing he could do. He, at this time, has been unable to make any reaction. Phew. At this critical moment, the red-haired man only saw a blurry light passing through the gap on his side, and then collided with the giant beast's long tail. Ding. When the two touched, there was an ear-piercing buzzing sound for a moment, but the next moment, the huge body of the giant beast collapsed. Ah, damn it, who the hell is it? The giant beast wailed in pain when it saw its own half-broken tail, and at the same time became even more disgusted with these people in front of it. It's you. The fierce eyes of the giant beast were fixed on Qin Sheng, who hurried over. Humans, if you have to suffer on your own, then don't blame me. The giant beast said. Its eyes suddenly became blood red, and its torso gradually became swollen. Damn it. The giant beast still has more than half of its blood. How could it explode at this time? It's impossible. The world's great wonders. Originally, the boss came, and I thought there would be some changes, but now that the giant beast has red eyes and blood, I'm afraid even the boss is helpless. How did I see that it wasn't the boss who made the move just now, but the young man around him? Impossible. You must be dazzled. Boss has the strength of nearly the top of the sky, and the strength of Washaw's top list is only 1,000 people. How could he casually appear in front of our eyes? Noisy. Qin Sheng said indifferently, and then with a slight swipe of his palm, the god blade that flew out returned to his side again. Boy, you are so arrogant. Today I will use your blood to pay homage to this world. As the giant beast said, it waved its fists and approached Qin Sheng, bringing up gravel along the way, but it didn't even know it. 99%. Chapter 474. The Power of Two Swords. Chapter 474. The Power of Two Swords. Create the world. Qin Sheng shouted softly. The god blade in his hand suddenly burst out with terrifying power, and rushed towards the figure of the giant beast running towards it. Death. At this time, the giant beast also came to Qin Sheng's side, raised its claws and swung at him fiercely, threatening to tear him apart. Bang! The moment the blade touched the sharp claws, the giant beast's claws shattered instantly, and before it could breathe a sigh of relief, Qin Sheng slashed down again with an invincible force of the sword. And facing the giant beast, naturally there is only one way to destroy it. This. More than 100 players watched Qin Sheng show off his supernatural power, all dumbfounded, as frightened as seeing a ghost. They were helpless in the face of the giant beast, and even sacrificed many brothers. There was no way to solve it, but they were dealt with by the man in front of them with two swords. How could they not be surprised? Okay, don't be surprised one by one. Red, count the casualties. Brother Hu's face became very ugly when he thought of the brothers he sacrificed. Ah, good. At this moment, the red-haired man came to his senses and quickly agreed, and then went to clear up the number of casualties. Who is this man? He was standing next to Brother Hu just now, and I didn't pay attention to him. Me too. I didn't notice him until he stood up and wounded the giant beast with a sword and killed it with one sword. 11. My God, could it be that this kind of great god knows the boss? Then we can sit back and relax in the future. Then just dream about it. Shuji knows our boss but doesn't know you. How can he help you to settle everything? He is not your father. That's right. More than 100 players were whispering below. Brother Hu didn't introduce Qin Sheng, so Qin Sheng naturally didn't say much, just looked ahead and stood there quietly, with an air of superiority. After a while, Kai Shi came to Brother Hu, and said respectfully, Brother Hu, we sacrificed 4 people this time and consumed a lot of potions. Apart from that, we have nothing else to lose. Backquote. While reporting to Brother Hu, Kai Sei sneakily looked at Qin Sheng, secretly guessing who the person in front of him was. That's okay. Brother Hu's face softened after hearing Kai Shi's words. This result was much better than what he had expected. I would like to introduce to you, the person next to me is Brother Yi. Today, if Brother Yi hadn't helped us, our Tianxia gang might have disappeared. And we can't arrive in time to deal with this giant beast. The loss was even heavier. Therefore, all of this was changed by Yi Zhe himself, so you must respect Yi Zhe. Brother Hu turned around, pointed at Qin Sheng as a gesture. Wow, Brother Yi is mighty. Brother Yi, how did you defeat the giant beast with 2 swords? Can you teach me? Brother Yi, can you play games with me? Brother Yi, can you give me your autograph? I want to keep it as a souvenir. As soon as Brother Hu's voice fell, a group of brothers rushed to get Qin Sheng's autograph and so on. Seeing this scene, Qin Sheng wanted to cry, but why did he become a big star and go to meet the fans? But he can also understand, after all, his strength is enough to make them admire him. Look at you little bastards, you are not good enough. Brother Yi has done so much for us, and you still want to trouble Brother Yi, get out. You have sacrificed a few people, and you are still joking, hurry up and pick refining stones to make up for it. Lose it. Brother Hu seemed to see Qin Sheng's embarrassment, and scolded him. Come on, Brother Hu. A group of people smiled hippie and started to move. Brother Yi, this group of boys is like this, you don't need to worry about it. Brother Hu said. It's okay. Qin Sheng shook his head slightly, and continued, I'm going to pick some refining stones too. Okay, Brother Hu agreed, and looked at the mountain-like refining stone with excitement. I'm a good boy. If this is inlaid on the weapons of the brothers, everyone's strength will increase by at least 1/3. If the rest of the transactions go out, at least a few million yuan can be netted. How does this keep him excited? Without the obstruction of the giant beast, every player joined the large team of picking the refined stones. After a while, a small mountain of refined stones was emptied by a group of people. Big harvest. Brother Hu smiled, turned around and said to Qin Sheng, Brother Yi, let's go. Let's go out and celebrate. No need. I just discovered an interesting thing, and I want to continue to stay here. When Qin Sheng was picking refining stones just now, he found a cave deep in the ground not far away, and he felt refreshed. Oh, Brother Hu raised his eyebrows, was silent for a moment, then stretched his brows, and said with a smile, we have already gained a lot, so we won't go down. Since Brother Yi still wants to stay here, then that's it, we're waiting outside for Brother Yi. It doesn't matter whether there are more tempting treasures below, it doesn't matter. What's more likely is that it contains a crisis. Brother Hu doesn't want to see his brothers get hurt again. He is already satisfied with obtaining these refining stones, and there is no need to take any more risks. Qin Sheng nodded slightly. Brother Hu looked rough on the outside, but he was quite delicate inside, which made Brother Yi look up to him. So, then I'll go alone. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he started to walk towards the underground hole he had seen before. Boss, Brother Yi, why isn't he with us? Kai Shi looked at Qin Sheng going against them, his eyes full of puzzlement. He has his affairs, let's go back first, Zhao, and get rid of these refining stones. Brother Hu looked at the direction Qin Sheng was leaving, and responded lightly to Dong. Oh, a group of people were extremely excited. Qin Sheng came to the place he had sensed before, looked at the deep and invisible hole, not only did not feel panic in his heart, but a hint of expectation. Where does this burrow lead? Is it the center of the earth? Or somewhere else? He doesn't know, so it is more challenging and exploratory. Propping up the tool of the god's Vimo without even thinking about it, Qin Sheng leapt and jumped down. After only a few tens of seconds of falling, Qin Sheng frowned, because he felt the solidity of his feet touching the bottom, but the surrounding area was still pitch black, making it hard to see the reality. Therefore, Qin Sheng activated Omniscience and Almighty Star, but it was still useless. In the eyes, a dark gray world, falling into the clouds and fog. 99%. Chapter 475. Realm Within Realm. Chapter 475. Boundary Within the Boundary. Interesting. I actually encountered a problem that Almighty Star couldn't solve. Qin Sheng smiled lightly. When people encounter unknown things, they instinctively feel scared and at a loss, but Qin Sheng is different. The more confusing and challenging things are, the more excited he is. Just like what happened in front of him, if he wants to leave here, he just needs to spread his wings and leave here directly. Why should he stay in this unknown underground hole? It's windy. Qin Sheng could not help murmuring softly when he felt the breeze on his face and his face was slightly chilled. In this place where the air is blocked, the corner where the wind comes out is the clue that I want to catch. As long as you walk in the direction of the wind, you will definitely find the answer you want. So, Qin Sheng looked for the direction of the wind, and groped in this dark underground cave, like a blind man groping an elephant. Although the progress is very slow, but at this point, urgent, can't solve the problem. It's light. Is it an exit? Where does this exit lead to? Is it an exit? Am I coming out? Qin Sheng was puzzled, but still walked towards the light. My Sao. What's the situation? Qin Sheng walked to the light and found himself standing above the sky. Next to it is the blue 290 sky, white floating clouds, and dazzling sunlight. The place where I walked out of the underground hole was more like a tunnel, but it was just a tunnel built on the sky. As for Qin Sheng, he was even more like a super expert from the outside world who tore through the void and came out of the void tunnel. However, the fact is that Qin Sheng just fumbled from that underground hole to get to this point. Looking around, there are young people practicing kung fu, women cooking, middle-aged men fighting wild beasts, and girls sitting in the courtyard embroidering. Qin was shocked. In the small world of the dungeon, there is actually a small world hidden. What is going on? He has never heard of it. The NPC standing below Qin Sheng also found Qin Sheng standing in the sky. His pupils froze, and bright wings suddenly appeared behind him, shooting up into the sky like streamers, and in the next moment, he came to Qin Sheng's side and held him surrounded several times. Is it another cancer sent by the system? Don't hold back. Kill him to prevent future troubles. A young man held Fang Tian's painted halberd and said angrily. What kind of cancer is sent by the system? Qin Sheng looked confused, not knowing what the system the young man in front of him was talking about was referring to. Not allowing Qin Sheng to say anything, the young man couldn't help but flash a golden light with the Fang Tian painting halberd and stab Qin Sheng fiercely. Even clay figurines have temper, not to mention that Qin Sheng is not a clay figurine, but a human being with flesh and blood. Qin Sheng was naturally upset that he came here in a good manner, not to mention being surrounded like a monkey, and even involuntarily doing something to himself. Since he wants to ask for trouble, Qin Sheng will naturally not show mercy. With a slight movement of his mind, the god blade appeared in Qin Sheng's hand. Ding! The moment Fang Tian's painted halberd touched the god's blade, there was a buzzing sound that resounded throughout the world. How could it be? Qin Sheng was horrified, the expected impetus did not happen, and both of them took a few steps back. Feeling the soreness from his arm, Qin Sheng just felt that the scene before him was so unreal. What? Why is the person sent by the system so good this time? I even think that only 2 people can solve the problem, and there is no need for the master to take action. The young man glanced at Qin Sheng suspiciously, as if I wonder how Qin Sheng's strength is so low. Qin Sheng was even more depressed. He was the strongest representative of human beings. If he was good at it, how could the rest of the human players feel bad for them? Turn on Omniscience and Almighty Star again, and glance at the young man in front of him. Level 59. Attributes. Skills. HP. MP. BFD. Obviously the level is the same as my own, but I can't even read information about attributes, skills, HP, and MP. Qin Sheng was puzzled. As long as his Omniscience and Almighty Star was not a few levels higher than himself, he would be able to see it clearly. Now, even an NPC of the same level as himself cannot feed back a lot of information, which makes him very puzzled. This has never happened before. Everyone! The young man shouted inside, and the people next to him immediately responded to his words, holding weapons and killing Qin Sheng. With his first experience, Qin Sheng naturally would not confront them head-on, but chose to hold his hand firmly and prop up the protective cover of the god blade to resist their attacks. Wang buzzing. Every time an attack was received, the protective shield propped up by the god blade would vibrate violently. Qin Sheng, who was inside the protective cover, had an unusually ugly expression. The god's blade is a forbidden thing, and it is the highest level weapon in the online game, Dream. The protective shield supported by it is naturally very strong, but the current situation may not be able to withstand a few attacks. Qin Sheng knew in his heart that each of these NPCs in front of him had the same strength as himself, otherwise he would not be equal to his opponent, let alone destroy the protective shield supported by the blade of God. Fight it! Qin Sheng clenched his teeth. If he could only use his strongest trick to catch them off guard, then he could take the opportunity to leave here. Assimilation Legendary Weapon -Point Ice Blade, King's Armor -Point Black King's Armor, Immortal Soldier -Point Reaper's Robe, Godly Tool -Point Golden Sword, Godly Island -Point Sword of Promised Victory. Thinking of doing it, Qin Sheng began to gather his strongest moves inside the protective cover. Children, that's enough. He wasn't sent by the system to destroy us. A voice like a breeze spread to every corner of the continent. The weapons on their bodies suddenly lost their light, and the power Qin Sheng condensed also disappeared out of thin air. This feeling is like being stopped by the great magical powers of life. Children, bring him to my side. I want to see him. The voice of the breeze came again. But my lord, these NPCs muttered to themselves on the spot, as if they believed that their lord could hear their words. Nothing but, children, don't you listen to me. The voice of Rumu Qingfeng came again, but this time, there was a trace of sullenness in the voice. Of course not. We know we're wrong, my lord, we'll take him to your place right away. A group of NPCs shook their heads quickly, and were about to carry Qin Sheng over. 99%. Chapter 476. The NPC who was driven to extinction. Chapter 476. The NPC who was driven to extinction. I just came in by mistake. As for being treated like this, now I have to be dragged to the past. It feels like taking a prisoner to the past. Moreover, it is not known whether it is a blessing or a curse. Qin Sheng couldn't express the pain in his heart. Labor and management have tempers too. Qin Sheng's complexion darkened, and he was naturally upset when he saw the nagging people in front of him, completely ignoring himself. Assimilation of the legendary weapon Ice Blade, King's Armor Black King's Armor, Immortal Armor Death's Robe, God's Tool Golden Sword, God's Tool Sword of Promised Victory. The artifact of the gods, the treasure of the king. Wake up, Aya heaven and earth, please leave busy Sheng. Qin Sheng stacked his moves quickly, and the sky suddenly roared, which seemed to be a change in the world caused by the power of the attack. Go! Qin Sheng snorted softly, and a destructive ray of light began to envelope the NPC and the others. Just when the group of NPCs were at a loss, a huge virtual palm appeared out of thin air, lightly grasping Qin Sheng's sword strike, and slowly crushing it forcefully. Then the virtual palm and sword strike disappeared into the sky together. Children, he is a guest, not an enemy. You must treat others with courtesy and not be rude. An uncapturable voice came again, but this time the voice was a little more ethereal. It seems that it can dissipate at any time, which makes people feel distressed. Yes, my lord. The young man nodded. That's good. After saying this sentence, the illusory voice fell into immersion again. I hate you. The young man glanced at Qin Sheng with hatred. What's wrong with me? Are you here to be funny? Qin Sheng smiled lightly, showing no signs of fear. You. After listening to Qin Sheng's words, the young man swung Fang Tian's painted halberd again, and fought Qin Sheng for 300 rounds. Houshan, please don't be rude. Your lord has already said that the young man in front of you is our guest. Why do you still want to fight him? Do you still want your lord to use that kind of power? A slightly the older NPC stood up and taught him a lesson. After hearing this sentence, Houshan lowered his head in shame, and did not say a word in reply. Sir, please don't blame Houshan. Houshan has this temper, and my lord. Speaking of this, the elderly NPC's eyes darkened. What happened to your master? Qin Sheng asked curiously as he followed them. He is full of curiosity about this place. For example, why is every NPC here so powerful? Compared with himself, they are all terrified. Why is this world built in another small world? What is the origin of this Lord? He actually gathered his palms in the void, and easily took his strongest blow. What kind of cancer are they talking about sent by the system? The system they are referring to, could it be this entire fantasy online game system? When I mention this, I have to mention that nasty NPC, who sends out systems to try to kill us every time. But what they didn't expect is that the strength of Lord Master has grown beyond their control. So, every time they sent out masters, they were killed one by one. But the master used too much power, and he was already on the verge of collapse. It's a pity that we are useless at all in a battle of that level. Actually, Houshan can't blame him for what he did to you. Our homeland has been changed several times. But every time we are still detected by the system, it is inevitable that Houshan will become sensitive, thinking that you are someone sent by the system. Beat out the people. The older NPC spoke for Houshan, and seemed to want Qin Sheng not to mind the matter. It's okay. Qin Sheng shook his head slightly. Since there was a reason for the incident, it's no wonder that he, Qin Sheng, was not ignorant of the general situation. Then what is the system you are talking about? Why do they want to kill you all? Qin Sheng asked curiously. I can't say that. The older NPC didn't answer Qin Sheng's question this time, but smiled mysteriously, and then said, just now, Lord Master sent me a voice transmission. When he sees you, he will naturally tell you I tell you all this. Oh, really? Since this is the case, Qin Sheng couldn't ask any more. However, he was even more puzzled in his heart. From this point of view, this Lord Master is a friend rather than an enemy, otherwise he would have easily killed himself with that light palm just now. But, why did you deliberately bring yourself in front of him? Why did you tell yourself these things? Qin Sheng couldn't figure it out. Anyway, he will know all this later. Qin Sheng simply stopped thinking about it, and with a slight movement of his body, he came to the right side of Houshan. If you had the strength just now, your so-called Lord Master would not use his strength to save you. Qin Sheng said truthfully. Although Houshan's strength is almost the same as his own, but his strongest move may not be able to take it. Yeah, Houshan was silent for a while, then nodded approvingly. Qin Sheng thought that Houshan's temper would require him to reason with him, but he didn't expect to listen to his own words. That's good, so that he can improve. 30 or so people waved their windy wings, and after galloping for a while on a silent journey, they came to a thatched hut. What? Is it possible that your master lives here? Qin Sheng asked reflexively. They glanced at Qin Sheng, but they didn't answer anything, and they didn't know what they were thinking about. Qin Sheng was a little embarrassed. It was indeed a bit of a mockery to ask this question. But my original intention was not like this. I just thought that it was normal for people like their master to at least live in a palace made of silver and sit on a throne made of gold. My lord, why is your aura suddenly so weak? A group of people came to the front of the hut, looked at the old man with sluggish breath, and asked with distress and doubts. Let's go. The old man waved his hand, but did not answer their questions. Okay. The NPCs present looked at each other in blank dismay. Although they were worried about the Lord's physical condition, Zhang Neng reluctantly left after hearing these words. Before leaving, Hoshan glared at Qin Shang, as if to say, if you dare to do anything to our Lord, I will not spare you. Qin Shang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Even if he wanted to do something, your master would hang me to do it. He didn't dare to make a move rashly, and making a move against an unfathomable person was no different from courting death. 99%. Chapter 477 This old man will not teach me martial arts cheats, will he? Chapter 477 This old man will not teach me martial arts cheats, will he? After Hoshan and the others left this place, only Master Zhu and Qin Shang were left. Crack. His lord ignored Qin Shang, but raised his axe and vigorously split the firewood in front of him, like a farmer. However, seeing Lord Master's miraculous means, Qin Shang naturally did not treat the NPC in front of him as an ordinary old man. This doesn't mean that Qin is afraid. As a movable doll, even if he is killed, there is a great possibility to trigger Soldier of the Holy Path collapsing jade, so he has nothing to fear. There was a dilapidated wooden chair in front of him, and Qin Shang didn't dislike it, and sat on it directly. His lord saw that Qin Shang was not afraid of himself, but sat on the chair beside him frankly. 523, let out a light snort, glanced at Qin Shang, then looked away, and chopped off his hand firewood. Qin Shang was not in a hurry, just sat on the chair and waited for him to speak. After a long time, Qin Shang's buttocks even went numb, and the lord in front of him still didn't seem to speak at all. Ma Dan, this old man will help me hang aside, and go to chop firewood by himself. Girl, you don't want to finish cutting the firewood in front of you, and then come to talk to me, right? The more Qin Shang thought about it, the more it was possible, but when he thought of the novels he usually read, and this similar plot, another possibility came to his mind: this old man won't teach me martial arts secrets. Forget it, let's talk about it again. Wait and see. Thinking of this, he sat back on the chair again, and watched the master chopping firewood without saying a word. In a blink of an eye, 1 day passed. Qin Shang suppressed his temper and continued to grind with him. In the blink of an eye, another night passed. Qin Shang began to feel anxious. What was the old man hanging himself here for? It is not known how many things happened outside. No, can't proceed and he's consumed. Seeing that there was firewood as high as a hill in front of Lord Master, Qin Shang was very desperate. At his speed, it would be impossible to finish it without a year or a half. Thinking about it, Qin Shang stood up. And the moment Qin Shang stood up, the axe in the Lord's hand shook in vain. As if there were hundreds of axes in his hand, he slashed towards the firewood quickly and ruthlessly. Is this going to teach me the secrets of martial arts? Qin Shang trembled in his heart, stopped his steps, and watched the Lord Master's movements with fixed eyes. But in fact, he couldn't see clearly the action of Lord Master at all. He could only see the vague shadow of the axe. In just a split second, the hill-like firewood in front of the Lord Master was split in an instant, and fell to the other side. I think you can't wait any longer. How is it? Have you realized anything? His lord put away the axe, looked at Qin Shang and smiled. Not yet, my lord. I hope you can perform it one more time. This time I will definitely be able to understand something. Master Qin pleaded with a sigh of relief. With such an opportunity in front of his eyes, how could he miss this opportunity? His Majesty was slightly astonished, and then he laughed dumbly and said, "Don't you think that I let you stay here for so long just to let you see my foreign skills?" Qin Shang was taken aback. Didn't he teach himself to use swordsmanship faster? Forgive my ignorance, but I still don't know why my lord let me stay until now. Qin Shang was a little embarrassed. If I just wanted to show you the axe technique, I would have done it long ago, so I wouldn't wait until you get impatient. Master Inoue smiled generously. Qin Shang was even more embarrassed. He thought that the Lord was testing his endurance, so he deliberately made himself wait until now. From this point of view, he misunderstood. Forget it, I won't make things difficult for you anymore. How long do you think it's been outside now? The Lord asked. Of course I know this, 1 day and 1 night. Qin Sheng was a little suspicious. I wondered in my heart how the Lord would ask such a mentally retarded question, but he still replied truthfully. Go out and have a look now. Lord Master didn't say much, but smiled mysteriously and instructed Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng nodded, walked out of the courtyard, and found that Houshan and others were still flying in the sky. How could it be? Qin Sheng was so surprised that he couldn't say a word. It seems that you have understood that what you think of as a day and night, only a few seconds have passed outside. And this range is only limited to my courtyard. You, who are in the center of the courtyard, naturally fell into my trick. I thought it was a day and a night. Lord Master came out from behind Qin Sheng and said slowly. My lord, I want to tell you, how did you do it? Qin Sheng looked at the Lord with fiery eyes, as excited as looking at a piece of fragrant steamed bun. Since I have revealed myself to you, I will teach you naturally. The Lord groped his chest several times before he took out a yellowed cheat book. Nong, this is the cheat book I snatched from the system, and I will leave it to you now. While speaking, the master handed the yellowed cheat book to Qin Sheng. Is this the cheat book that was taken back from the system? Qin Sheng looked at the cheat book tightly in his hand, feeling a little uneasy in his heart. Sure enough, the Lord continued, but don't be too happy too soon. When you have cultivated this cheat book to a certain level, once you use this trick, the system will lock you and will wipe you out. My lord, could it be that the system targeted you because of this cheat book? Qin Sheng grabbed the clue and asked. Of course not. Under the watchful eyes of 0.0 Qin Sheng, Lord Master slowly shook his head, and continued, we were hunted down by the system because we possessed wisdom. Other NPCs treat you as outsiders, and we you are players, and we are just programs. What? Qin Sheng was shocked when he heard what His Majesty said. The characters in the NPC actually know that they are players, and they are just a program. No wonder the system wants to kill them. Lord Master ignored Qin Sheng's astonishment, and continued, so, we are inferior products to the system. They want to kill me, so naturally we won't let them succeed, so we fled all the way here. As NPCs, they know things that don't belong to their world, no wonder the system wants to kill them. Although it is cruel and unfeeling, it is also reasonable. 99%. Chapter 478. Became a hands-off shopkeeper. Chapter 478. What they didn't expect was that my strength had already exceeded their expectations, so the masters they sent were not my opponents at all. However, as the strength of the players in the game increased, the strength of the people sent by the system also became stronger and stronger. I can't take it anymore. Maybe when the masters sent by the system find us again, my strength is not enough to deal with them. The Lord lamented and said helplessly. No wonder Houshan and the others worship Lord Master so much. It turns out that this so-called Master Lord has been guarding them all the time, so there is nothing wrong with it. I think Houshan's strength is also very strong, and they are almost the same as me. What's going on? After all, it is recognized as the number one by all players in the server. When you come to the Xiaofang world, in this Xiaofang world, you can fight with anyone you meet, even with almost the same strength. Qin Sheng is naturally not convinced. This can be regarded as a bug. We grow with the strength of fantasy online game players. Similarly, if the combat power is the same, it may not necessarily be evenly divided. It also depends on the position and skills. Master Yu Sheng explained. 15, so that's it. Qin Sheng nodded slightly. It's no wonder Houshan's strength is almost the same as their own. It turns out that they have the same combat power as themselves. Excuse me, why did your lord bring me to your side? And why did you tell me these words? You are so kind to me and let me learn martial arts secrets. Qin Sheng breathed a sigh of relief and asked directly. He never believed in the fact that there would be a pie in the sky, and even if the pie did fall, it would not just fall on his own head. Even if the Lord Master in front of him is a friend rather than an enemy, it is undeniable that he must have desires or that he has a purpose. Boy, you are very courageous. I appreciate you very much. But I don't have much time left, so I'll make a long story short. When you first entered Xiaofang's world, I detected your future. I didn't expect. The Lord paused for a moment, with some hesitation in his tone. What's the matter? Qin Sheng asked curiously. Looking at the Lord Master's appearance, it seemed as if he had seen something extraordinary. After a long time, the world will be in chaos. Countless demons and ghosts will come from hell, incarnate as Shira, and drag people down to hell. Countless lives would be worse than death. The world will be shrouded in darkness, and people will see no hope. And you, at this time, with the posture of a god of war, holding a divine sword, killing countless gods and demons with one sword, piercing the sky with one sword, and splitting the dawn for mankind with one sword. You are the savior of mankind, that's why I brought you to my side. And I spied on your destiny, and the few remaining lives are like candles swaying in the wind. Now, my mission has been completed. From now on, if there is no Lord, my people will be entrusted to you for protection. After finishing speaking, the Lord Master's figure dimmed for a while, and then completely disappeared into the sky. Actually, my name is Qingmian Shanren, but my people are too self-willed. They keep calling me Lord Master, which has caused me to forget my own life for a long time. Please remember my lesson W. The words of the green-faced good man came from the air, and since then, there has been no such person in fantasy online games. Seeing the green-faced good man disappear in front of his eyes, Qin Sheng didn't feel the slightest emotion, and felt a little helpless in his heart. You yourself left so simply and neatly, it was embarrassing for me, may I not accept this dying entrustment, your people let them fend for themselves. But the green-faced orc had already passed away, so he couldn't answer Qin Sheng's words. Damn it, leave such a mess to me, I don't want to agree. Qin Sheng secretly scolded the green-faced good man for being shameless. But from another perspective, the green-faced good man is also an admirable NPC, at least he defended his people. Qin Sheng is not an irresponsible person. Since the green-faced good man handed him the martial arts cheats, it is impossible for him to run away when he gets the advantage. My lord, the moment the green-faced good man died, the people in the city seemed to have sensed it, and they spread their gorgeous wings and rushed towards the blue-faced good man's residence. My lord, are you really dead? Hundreds of NPCs in the city rushed over in just a few seconds, seeing only Qin Sheng in front of them, they asked. Yeah, Qin Sheng nodded slightly, without saying anything. My lord, there was a wailing sound at the scene. My lord, you have done so much for us, and now you are leaving us so silently. I am wronged by God's will, I am wronged by the system, I am wronged by you. Hou Shen suddenly pointed at Fang Tian with a halberd. Looking at Qin Sheng, he said bitterly. Qin Sheng was slightly taken aback. He had provoked someone, why was he being targeted again? Forget it. If Hou Shen has the motivation to be strong for this purpose, so strong that he can guard his compatriots, then he can also be a shopkeeper. So, Qin Sheng smiled indifferently. Don't be kidding, do you think you can compete with the system with the current you? In fantasy online games, the system is the sky, making your masters helpless. Do you have that experience? Quote. You. I want to challenge you. After hearing what Qin Sheng said, Hou Shen's veins bulged, and he couldn't wait to pick Qin Sheng under his halberd in the next second. Hou Shen, don't be rude to the Lord's 663 guests. Everyone in the NPC was shocked when they heard Hou Shen's words, and blocked them one after another. I'm sorry, Hou Shen has such a temper, I hope you will forgive me a lot. Someone begged Hou Shen. It's okay, since he wants to see the gap between me, I'll just let him see it today. Qin Sheng smiled lightly, as if he had accepted Hou Shen's challenge. Everyone looked at Hou Shen and Qin Sheng's high fighting spirit, and they couldn't say anything to stop them, so they had to put up the protective cover and let the two of them fight to their heart's content inside the protective cover. Ding! The long halberd and the long sword intersected, making a buzzing sound. Hou Shen took 5 steps back, stepping out of a deep hole with each step. When he stopped, his face turned paler. Qin Sheng's situation was much better. He only took 2 steps back, his palms were slightly sore. At this time, the quality of the weapon can be reflected. Is your strength only like this? Qin Sheng inserted the god blade in front of him, gave Hou Shen a contemptuous look, and then said, if your strength is only this, don't expect to challenge the system, I advise you to give up this unrealistic notion. But Qin Sheng didn't think so in his heart. If it wasn't for his own weapons to dominate, he would be evenly divided with Wu Tian at most. 100%. Chapter 479 Leaving Xiaofang World. Chapter 479 Leaving Xiaofang World. But from another perspective, weapons are also a part of strength, and the God Blade is naturally also Qin Sheng's weapon. HMPH. I'm just a few steps back than you, and I'm not much stronger than me. What's so exciting about you? Hou Shen sneered and said lightly. Oh, really? Qin Sheng laughed, and then pulled out the god blade stuck in the soil, and threw it away, indicating that Xuangqi didn't have any weapons. He looked at Hou Shen contemptuously, and said lightly, don't say I bully you, now that I have thrown away my weapon, how can you bear me? looking for death. Being so provocative by Qin Sheng, Hoshin's eyes turned scarlet. He raised Fang Tian's painting halberd and circled in the sky, and slashed at Qin Sheng viciously. Straight eyes, Qin Sheng murmured, and then one of his eyes turned black, and the other eye turned white. Hoshin involuntarily glanced at Qin Sheng, and with just one glance, he crawled down in front of Qin Sheng like a broken bone. Weak, weak, weak. It's too weak. You didn't get close to me, so it became like this, let alone defeat me. It's really fantastic, Qin Sheng said, while exerting his coercion towards Hoshin. Hoshin only felt shortness of breath and blurred vision at this moment, and everything in front of him began to become unrealistic. Damn it, I am still too weak after all. Hoshin clenched his fists tightly, feeling a deep sense of unwillingness in his heart, but he was powerless. Do you know, I want you to die. You are already dead, but I don't like to kill you mentally retarded. When you are stronger, come again. Qin Sheng kicked Hoshin hard. At the same time, the surrounding protective shields were also revoked by everyone. The battle has developed to the present, and the battle situation is already very clear. What's your name? Qin Sheng withdrew his dead eyes. Hoshin got the strength to get up, and asked Qin Sheng with a stern expression. Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng thought about it, but still told his real name. Okay, I'll remember it. Wait, in the future I will definitely take back today's shame one by one. After Hoshin finished speaking, he flapped his wings and left Xiaofang world. He didn't know where he was going. What's your name? Qin Sheng looked at the older man before taking himself to meet the Lord, and asked. My name is He Bo. The older man replied. You know the situation of your compatriots well, right? Qin Sheng asked again. That's natural. After all, our compatriots are only more than 200 people. He Bo nodded slightly and replied. That's good. Before leaving, your lord entrusted me to protect you, and I have promised your lord. Qin Sheng began to describe what the blue-faced orc said to himself. I'm willing to follow Master Yi. After listening to what Qin Sheng said, the NPC and others knelt down one after another, saying passionately. You don't need to be too polite. Qin Sheng dragged his hands towards the void, signaling them not to do so. After all the NPCs stood up, he went on to say, although I promised you, the Lord, to protect you, this place does not belong to me, and you don't need to pay too much respect, lest I put pressure on you. Qin Sheng bluntly said that he doesn't care whether these NPCs have grudges in their hearts. In the final analysis, his relationship with the green-faced good man is nothing more than a relationship of using and being used. To put it nicely, that is to help each other. The NPC and the others looked at each other. They didn't expect Qin Sheng to speak so bluntly. They were speechless for a while. He Bo, are there more than 200 of your compatriots now? How many people are there? Qin Sheng ignored the surprised expressions of everyone, turned his head, and asked He Bo. My lord has passed away, and Hoshin has also left. Now there are a total of 238 people. Of course, when my lord is here, I also try to contact other NPCs. Implicitly test whether there are other NPCs who know the outside world. The situation of the outside world. But the NPCs we have contacted, apart from us, they do not know the situation of the outside world. He Bo listened to Qin Sheng's question, pondered for a while, and then replied in a positive tone. That is to say, in areas you haven't explored, there may be other NPCs who know the outside world. Qin Sheng extracted keywords from He Bo's words and asked. Well, that's true. The NPCs we contacted are only in the main city of Suzaku, and we haven't contacted them on a large scale. After all, we are afraid of being noticed by the system. He Bo nodded slightly, agreeing with Qin Sheng's opinion. What, is Master Yi planning to call all the NPCs who know the outside world and unite them to fight against the system? He Bo's eyes lit up, thinking that Qin Sheng was going to lead them to revolt. Qin Sheng gave a wry smile, and said slowly, as long as it is in the Dream Online game, the system is an unrivaled existence, like a godlike existence, leading you is no different from sending you to death. In the final analysis, they are just programs. Qin Sheng doesn't know why the real programmers didn't do anything and delete these strange programs directly, which is really puzzling. However, I can call you together, which can be regarded as a help. Of course, not now. Qin Sheng changed the subject and said slowly. I've been so busy recently, there's going to be an auction soon, how can I continue to delay here? Also, don't call me Master Yi, call me Master Sheng from now on. Qin Sheng was slightly naughty. Yes, Master Sheng. The people who greeted us were more than 200 people who answered neatly. Qin Sheng was speechless, but that's all, let them do as they please. Thinking about the auction, Wang's Qin Sheng suddenly realized that it's getting late, and I'm afraid it won't be long before his auction. So, Qin Sheng hurriedly confessed. After I go out, I will buy back all the scrolls of this dungeon sold in the store, and then destroy them. Only 2 permanent scrolls are left for myself and you, so that you can come in and out freely. Bar. Yes, everyone nodded. After negotiating with the NPCs, Qin Sheng left Xiaofang World along the way he came. After leaving Xiaofang World and returning to the city, Qin Sheng found that his private chats were about to be maxed out, because 19 plus appeared in front of his eyes. Brother Sheng, why haven't you come back yet? My sister is so lonely. Brother Chang, are you afraid of me, so you dare not go back to your home? Brother Chang, why didn't you reply even 10 messages when you died? 100%. Chapter 480. The auction begins. Chapter 480. The auction begins. I'll give you half an hour to appear in front of me, otherwise I'll make you look good. Quote question mark question mark question mark. Carrot, you can go to hell. Smile. The auction is about to start, why don't you hurry back? Did you come back? Something went wrong halfway, but don't say it's my sister's incompetence. The auction has started, I'm going in first. There were no more news here, and Luli, Zhu Lingshan and others also sent a few sporadic messages, which generally meant that Sister Lu Mengxin couldn't wait, and the auction time was coming. Damn it. Qin Sheng was very helpless. He just went to the dungeon to brush up a task, but he didn't expect it to take so long. What's even worse is that in the dungeon, it can't receive news from the outside world. Glancing at the time, it was fortunate that the last message was sent a few minutes ago. Qin Sheng let out a long sigh of relief and rushed towards Lu Mengxin's location. After a while, Qin Sheng came to a magnificent doorway and stood there. There are many people around the gate 867 of the auction site, probably those who have not met the conditions of the auction and can only stay outside the gate. As soon as Qin Sheng came over, he immediately attracted everyone's attention. Look, that one is number 1 on the list. I heard that the auction held by Zui Mengju is also inextricably related to him. What does it mean to have an inextricably linked relationship? It is obviously a direct relationship, right? All the people below me are my own son's items, Drunk Dream House auction, only. Relation. Wow, is this the number 1 on the list server? So handsome. Be my male god. Stop dreaming, he won't take a fancy to you. The players at the door looked sideways and whispered. Wherever Qin Sheng passed by, they all cooperated to let him pass by. This formed a crowd of players, and when they met Qin Sheng beside them, they all consciously gave way. Just as Qin Sheng felt refreshed and was watched and admired by countless players, there was a Cheng Yaojin standing in front of his eyes, completely unaware that Qin Kong was behind him BFDI. Moreover, this player's body is extremely large, and his body size directly occupies the position of 2 people. Looking at his ID again, what's wrong with the fat pig? It is very suitable for his body type. Ma Dan isn't holding an auction just to let people in. What does it mean to keep labor and capital out? Don't underestimate labor and capital without Krypton gold. Day, what's wrong with the fat pig? Seems to be immersed in himself in the midst of his anger, he kept cursing. Brother, are you blocking my way? Qin Sheng frowned and said slowly. Such a big body, and the people on both sides have already consciously stepped aside, only he didn't know it. If you go around from the side, you will lose your face, you know, you are a public figure. Day, labor and management are in a bad mood, who is the idiot who deserves to be beaten? What's wrong with the fat pig? Hearing Qin Sheng's words, he suddenly turned around and looked at Qin Sheng with a full face. Oh, do you want to beat me up? Well, I'll give you a chance now. Qin Sheng looked at what's wrong with the fat pig, and smiled lightly. All the people below me are my own sons. What's wrong with the fat pig? Muttering Qin Sheng's ID, his pupils shrank in vain. Great God, I was wrong, I was really wrong, please forgive me. What's wrong with the fat pig? Patted his cheek and smiled apologetically. It was obviously a very embarrassing thing, but he didn't care at all. After all, it took them a little over a month to go from level 0 to level 59. After working hard for so long, who can bear the blow of losing 2 levels in a row? Okay, get out. Qin Sheng wanted to cry, but he didn't want to cry. He just asked him to step aside, who told him to be sloppy. It's true that God's sins can still be violated, and self-inflicted sins can't be lived. Hey, okay, big brother, I'm going to roll now. As he said, what's wrong with the fat pig? It actually curled up and rolled to the side. It caused the crowd to roar with laughter. Master, how do you think I'm rolling? If you think it's not good, I can change the angle, change the posture and continue rolling. At the end, what's wrong with the fat pig? Seems to be afraid that Qin Sheng will be dissatisfied, please asked. Qin Sheng didn't respond, but thought this fat man was really funny. What's wrong with the fat pig? Wasn't it quite arrogant just now? Why are you so cowardly now? It's okay for a man to be ugly. If he doesn't even have courage, then he's a scum among men. It's really embarrassing. Go back and chop the meat. What's wrong with the fat pig? This behavior naturally aroused the ridicule of everyone. Okay, you are all real men, so don't be humble. The great God is standing here. Whoever wants to challenge can replace the number 1 position on the leaderboard if you win. But lose. Hee. Then is to connect 2 levels. What's wrong with the fat pig? With his waist on his waist, he acted as if which of you was the one, and I respected him as a man. That once thought, these gossiping players, after hearing the words what's wrong with the fat pig, they all looked at each other in blank dismay, not daring to challenge Qin Sheng's authority. That's it, Xiaomian, and you said that you are cowardly, and you are more like a bunch of idiots. After finishing speaking, what's wrong with the fat pigs? Ignoring the complicated eyes of the players, Qin Sheng ignored the farce outside. At this time he had already arrived inside the auction. Of course, he was blocked when he came in, but he showed something that could represent his identity, and everything was fine. Hunyuan Dan. It can solve all the chaotic state of the player and restore it to its peak state. 100,000 diamonds. A box of 1 million diamonds will start bidding. Lu Mengxin smiled sweetly, and instantly aroused the sensation of the players below. Wow, it's hard to find a single Hunyuan pill outside, but 10 pills are auctioned off at once. This is too generous. That's right, the auction has just started, and there are such good things out there. I don't know what else there will be in the future. Hurry up and ask the gang members to raise money. I must win what I want at the auction. Master, you can no longer use the resources in the guild is about to bear the burden. Seeing the high emotions of the players, Qin Sheng's mouth curved into a smile. Qin Sheng's mouth curved into a smile.